Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Monday, it's Covenant Live. Here we are back from SorceryCon in Seattle, and we've got some thoughts that we'd like to share. Before we do that, a couple of things that I wanted to let you know. One is, it's kind of infuriating. We've got some equipment and everything says it should be working and it isn't. You know?
Well, and can we do a little preview of what that equipment's going to let us do?
Yeah, look at that.
Boom!
Oh, it happened. Look.
Years in the making. We have a John Cam. I am so happy.
Oh boy!
There it is.
Boy.
I've been saying for years we need a John Cam. Slowly, he talks more while we're live. And
yeah, that's it.
He was recently in the past couple months on stream, and actually enjoyed it. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, they can hear you now, right?
They can hear me.
That's
echoey.
the mic's not working. That was
the.
It doesn't make any sense why it's not working. Like
the mic that's supposed to be working.
We looked at the manual. You know, everything is like this is the gain structure that should work. But also in the process, I've watched some of our streams back, and sometimes Zach is louder than me. Sometimes I'm louder than Zach. I talked to David at SorceryCon. He said one time he tuned in and it was unwatchable to him because it was so out of balance.
Really?
Ouch.
So y'all don't let that happen. Please.
If it's out of balance, say something.
Say something. Like if I sound more distant, if Zach sounds more distant. It's been weird because Zach usually is the ghost in the room, and then suddenly it's been me. So something has changed. It could be the room. It could be my confidence.
We are in a new studio.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Also, the response of the John Cam on chat is people are going insane.
I was really jittery, but that's because I am on.
You're on 24 frames, I reckon. Yeah.
I got it.
You're on that documentary style shooting.
Right.
We're gonna have to get some lighting over there too.
Let's talk about the topic. So the magic of gathering is obviously a genius play on words.
Some big branded marketing thought that one up.
I mean, it's a total bait and switch on the SEO front, and maybe get a few Magic players saying, "What are these guys talking about?" I think I saw them in a Keyforge video 6 years ago. They're still on YouTube. Why are they talking about Magic the Gathering?
That's the question.
Because the switch of the plurals wouldn't often be caught. It would just be like, "Oh, they're talking about Magic." And ostensibly, I mean, we're always talking about Magic. Everybody in TCG space is talking about Magic to some degree all of the time. But here's why it's called the Magic of Gatherings. Because, you know, in a lot of ways, that was the original brand promise of Magic the Gathering. You have these cards, you gather together, and you play with the people who want to play with you. Now, that would eventually...
So it's like a play on words for like Flesh and Blood.
Yeah.
It's like to play in the flesh and blood.
To play in the flesh and blood, there it is.
The magic of gatherings.
I presume. But, you know, the idea was you get these cards, you buy them at whatever shop you can find them at because you didn't have the online marketplace nearly as prevalent.
This is the 90s.
Maybe, you could do a little, was eBay or anything like that around?
It would have been late 90s.
Late 90s.
Not 93 when it first came out.
Yeah. You maybe find a message board and somebody will send you a card or something.
In 93, most people did not have like the internet out.
Yeah, I think
or
I was
computer.
Like 2000 or so for me, probably.
Yeah.
Anyway, you find the cards, and you find other people who also found the cards, and you say, "Oh man, do you want to gather together and play a game? Because that's what we can do with these cards." And then you would gather together and do that, and then you'd feel great about it. And then, you know, it's like we'd link our Game Boys up and fight our Pokemons together.
Yeah, for the 2 hours of battery we had.
We'd find the other guy who has the Magic deck, and in our case, the Star Wars TCG deck, and be like, "Oh man, you play this? We got to play now. Like, let's play until we can't play anymore." And that was kind of, you know, how things went. And then we saw, as time went on, that got more formal and more formal and more formal. Tournaments become a known quantity. It becomes the feature of the local space, as this is where I go to compete in tournaments. That starts to grow. That turns into the big pro tour, the thing that James White always talks about: tour the world, see the world, play the game, see the world.
Play the game, see the world.
A lot of the people making TCGs now actually, you know, kind of grew up in that mindset. That's also about the time you had the Nintendo Championships, and it was just kind of cool to be a competitive, you know, at these hobbies. And then it got more and more and more and more formalized and experience and ELO and point systems and track this and track that and get the promos you can only get with this and that. And it got all the way up there. And then I really think there was a phase there, from what I understand, my friends in the industry would tell me, that Magic kind of realized that everyone playing Magic is just Commander players. What's that about? And they're just getting together wherever they want to do this, oftentimes at the back room of the tournament. The judges getting together and playing Elder Dragon Highlander. which became known as Commander later on, of course. And so then you had like kind of this, well, why is there all this official gathering happening whenever the majority of people are engaging with this game in a very casual way, and they're getting together whenever they please, not whenever we host these big events. And then everyone's like, well, yeah, maybe we don't need a Pro Tour or competitive play. And then the kind of pandemic accelerated that a little bit more. And then we come back in and Flesh and Blood doubles down on the void that's left in the giant competitive organized play system. Magic is primarily, as I understand it, digital is where the competitive space is living, although they're still doing in-person events and qualifiers and that kind of stuff. And then Sorcery comes out, and Sorcery is keying in on that original brand promise, Magic the Gathering. Deep, weird fantasy cards in tons of different weird art styles. You never quite know what you're going to find in the pack. And you gather together wherever and whenever you want to do this thing. And that is how we ended up at SorceryCon in Seattle, which was last week. It was put on by David and Alex, two incredible sorcery players. I don't mean incredible players, like they're great. Alex, I think, is a great player, as far as I could tell. He was saying all the things that made me think he was a great player. And he's an old 4-year Pro Tour Magic guy. So he was an old pro.
So he knows what's up.
David is more of a casual, really a community. You know, there's these community people, these community pillars that are more interested in throwing a great event and like being a source of gathering for the community than necessarily creating the best deck on Earth. And so I think David would put himself in that category as well, but has a great time with the game, has led a bunch of initiatives at local breweries and stuff to get the community going. SorceryCon happened. And why we went to this event, thank you, David.
Why did we go to this event, Steven?
We went to this event because it was such a refreshing thing where Sorcery made the gamble. They said, we're just going to let the community figure it out. And we're just going to make the coolest cards that we can. And hopefully it'll work out like it used to in the 90s. And David and Alex took up the cup and said, I think we can have a role to play in that. Drew down in Texas is saying, I think I have a role to play in that. Louie and Co at the Courtesan Cup on the East Coast are saying, I think I can play a role in that. And then all of a sudden you have these actual gatherings led from the ground up rather than the top down. And it feels different. It feels absolutely different. And the vibe at SorceryCon and the feeling of gathering there was an old-fashioned kind of feeling that I absolutely adored. And it was the kind of thing where David was like, hey, hey, by the way, we're playing with the Chaos Twister. And we're playing with Eric's Curiosa. You want to rip the card up? Rip the card up. It says it on the card. We're playing by the freaking card rules. We're not going to do a sideboard. We're just not going to do it.
I liked one of my favorite moments was mid-tournament. David comes on the mic going to the last round. It reminds me of, so actually, this is a weird segue, but this coming weekend, I'm going to watch Sting's final wrestling match.
That's great.
Which I'm really excited about.
That's just great.
Like an OSU wrestling match?
No.
Like
WWE,
the
man.
icon, the man known as Sting. Anyways, it reminds me of a referee coming into a wrestling match, and it's like stopping the bell from being rung. And it's like, this is not how this is going to go. So he comes on the mic, David, and he's like, listen,
Selecta.
Here, round 6, there will not be intentional draws. There has to be a winner of these games. Because a lot of times, and we played tournaments like this. I remember Spoils back in the day. If you go to last round X and 1, you can just draw, and both players make the top 8.
Yeah.
If someone wins and someone loses, the winner definitely makes top 8. The loser might not,
Yeah.
although they're likely to make it. And he was like, listen, there's going to be a winner of each of these matches mid-tournament. And it's like, so if we get to a situation where this happens, we're going to do this. And if that doesn't work out, we're going to do this. And someone's going to win this game. And everyone was just like, okay.
Yeah. That's all you need. It's your I'm in your house, basically. You tell me how we're playing. I mean, it's not, there's no official structure that I have to argue with you about the way the event should be run, because you can run it however you please.
Yeah. And I think, so you mentioned this like bottom up approach versus top down. And I think that's a good to key in on, because when we were interviewing Eric during our 12-hour sorcery stream, he used this concept of bottom up or top down to describe game design. And so he was saying it's top down on the card design front, which is this concept of like making the card do what it should do, instead of designing something and saying, what are we going to create that would do this? You know, so a stealth unit with 2 power. It's like, well, let's create this character.
Yeah.
It's like, we're going to create this character and then make everything else fit it. Or we're going to get the piece of art back from
I think that
the
was
artist
really it.
and say, like, this looks like this dragon's pretty tough. Like, we should make this a big dragon. Even though maybe the prompt, you were thinking of a smaller, weaker dragon. But now you got to change the card design because the design has to fit the art kind of thing. So from organized play standpoint, from my personal experience, Fab is the best top-down that I've seen. From the ground up, the game is designed DNA to be a competitive game. And so they have this very elaborate organized play structure that comes from the top. There's $1.5 million in prizes this year. There's a World Championship Pro Tour, all the way down to like the
local store armory system.
There's all this structure and stuff. Now, inherently, these top-down approaches, to a certain degree, are restrictive because this is how it's got to be done. If you want to get the things that we're providing as part of this, which includes you're listed on the event finder, you get the promotion, you get the promos, you get all that stuff. And one thing we've always talked about, I won't say always, it's a bit hyperbolic, but for a long time, one of the weirder tension points for us, back like when we had 2.0 open, is how incentivized winning was in these approaches. And it makes sense, and it's just natural. It's what everyone does.
Yeah,
it's like top 8 get the playmat, top 4 get this promo, the winner gets this promo, or in Fab's case, like top 8 get a cold foil hero, top 4 get a playmat, winner gets a cold gold and a qualification, and that whole system. But locally, before the pandemic, we were very focused on all prizes or participation or randomized. It's like, because winning is its own incentive.
Yeah, I think so.
Winning is fun. So there's multiple elements here, though, because there's the bottom-up approach, which is make a great game that is fun. And I think the DNA of the design is intended for this, which is like, it's not meant to be this really big, formal, serious. Like, you can't have Chaos Twister in a Fab game.
Right.
You can. We've seen that. I think it's called Yu-Gi-Oh. Or it's, you know what I mean? It's like this is crazy effects that happen. And you see, we talk about Magic. When it first came out, there was none of that stuff. It was more like Sorcery. Like, it was this crazy. If you look at some of the old cards, they would never write a card like that today.
Yeah, of course.
Which is interesting.
And also the art style.
Yep.
You know what was wild about that is we interviewed Margaret, right, Jonathan?
That's right.
Margaret.
Oh gosh, are you going to say that great quote?
Incredible interview. Put your face up if you're going to talk to me. You got to put your face up now.
Yeah, you got to put your signature on it.
Pressure's on. I got to see you at the monitor here. I can just talk right to your face there.
Hey.
So, do you remember Margaret's last name? We could probably look it up.
I want to say it's not Margaret Weiss, but that's the one in my head.
It's not Weiss and Hickman. It's
David will know it really quickly.
Observatory. She did a lot of early Magic art.
Is she the one that did this?
No, there's a whole story behind that.
I don't think so. Okay, I've got it here. Observatory. Great card, too. This is by Margaret Organ Keene.
There you go.
Margaret Organ Keene. Check this tasty number out. So when she first started, first set of Magic, it was like...
She did art for the first set of Magic.
Yeah, from the very beginning.
Okay.
And
that was the artist at the show?
Yeah.
I'm an idiot.
She was given like...
I had no idea.
I think it was $50 for a painting. And she would also get royalties on however well the product sold, like a 0.5% something. And at the time, all the artists are like, LOL, right? Royalties. I've heard that song and dance before. But then the thing she was most interested in, they gave her 25 to 50. She said it was variable. She didn't know why, but they promised her at least 25 color, full, like nice copies of the card, artist with the art on it, artist proof. And that was actually super valuable to the artist because it was very expensive to create replications of their paintings. So they would use those artist proofs to shop their art around to more games and D&D manuals and people in the industry, and that would get them more work. And so she was most interested in the artist proofs of all of that arrangement.
That was the upside for her.
I just want the 25 cards.
Yeah.
But she said the original thing, Wizards would say like, just a dragon on a mountain. And she'd do a dragon on a mountain. She'd turn it in, they'd pay her, and that was it. She said after about 3 to 4 years, the art direction became very sensitive. So it would be like, dragon on the mountain, okay. We need the dragon's tail to be shorter. We need the dragon to be breathing poison. We need she said a lot of times, we need the lady to be more attractive. Or like we need like that kind of stuff. And so it started getting very much, we want a synthesized vision behind all of the art that's coming out per set. And you see what happens, right? It becomes that, but like we talked about all the time, this human desire to refine, makes something eventually fairly lifeless. And then you take the border, you take the original Magic the Gathering border, which is freaking beautiful, with all its flaws and all the reasons that it's bad and all the reasons it doesn't work. And you refine. And now all of a sudden you have this shiny, look like everything else thing. And it's because you're not letting the creative people be rawly creative. And that's what Sorcery is allowing the artists to do, which I really enjoy. And that's what they're allowing David and Alex to do with this event.
I was sorry to interrupt you. I was looking at comments. Did you tell her the 3 art directors that she worked for?
The 3 art directors, there's only 3 types of art directors, according to Margaret. There's the art directors that you'll never work for again. There's the art directors that...
Let me do what I want.
Which is her favorite. And then they're the art directors that actually help me. There's only the three kinds. She said 90% of them fall into the I'm never working for you again bucket.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's very interesting because
I thought so.
As a company, I think we've gone through a fair amount of this and are going through it even now and having a lot of conversations we were having, even the one we had this morning. Which is, and Chris's comment about the current art. You have Chris Peach's comment I saw earlier. There it is, saying the art in Magic now and the graphic design is superior. So like this is
isn't that amazing?
It's fascinating because
it's true.
Well, maybe depends on how you're defining superior, right? Because I think the streamlining and the efficiency in the systems and the like all that stuff, right? The perfection of it. Weirdly, what I'm starting to feel is it starts to remove the like humanity of it.
Yes.
And it instead of it being this is an artist's take on this thing and they're doing art, this is an artist fitting a piece of art inside of a world that already exists in a way that already exists
into a system.
Which when I think about like my favorite films or my favorite TV shows, like, and I know I'm to an extent the exception. Which is I like not necessarily just all, and I have a fond appreciation for mainstream stuff. I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan,
right?
And it's like that is
very pretty formulaic.
Yeah, even like it's kind of the difference between Star Wars in the 70s and 80s and Star Wars now,
isn't it? I'm glad you said that.
Which is you look at episode 7, 8, 9, and like they have bigger problems than just these factors. But I think it's systematized in a studio instead of art. Like. It looks good. The music is John Williams is the thing is John Williams is I'm on a high horse. John Williams is so good at what he does. I feel like he's one of the few creatives that doesn't get messed with. Like the film gets turned in and they're like, all right, we need you to write a soundtrack to this. And they just let him do it. And because he's just him. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But the films themselves, like you can blame Ryan, you can blame JJ, it's Kathleen Kennedy, whoever. I think the problem is the company.
Sure.
Like the board, like it's like this committee designing these things. Same with art. So like it may be more consistent art. It may be technically more impressive art. The graphic design may be cleaner and more readable.
Easier to read, that kind of thing, yeah.
But I think that's what is so, like I look at sorcery cards and the art. And like part of what's so appealing is how different everything is. And that's not going to work for everybody.
Well, I think it's really analogous to logo, like our logo design. And y'all have seen this play out the world over. All of these brands changing, upgrading, updating their logo to better design and losing every ounce of why you cared about that brand logo in the first place. Like just losing all of the humanity because it starts with a raw, beautiful, creative idea. And that's what people are attracted to originally. And then as you dumb that down into actually, and this is what we ran into with our logo. I was chasing this rabbit, John and I were chasing this rabbit for a decade of like, this logo doesn't work at small sizes. This logo doesn't work. It's a C logo next to the C word mark. Those two C's in a row are don't work very well together. It's got too many little spines on it so that as it scales down, they get lost and it looks fuzzy. All that kind of stuff. And it's like, if you really wanted that to be a great logo, it would just be like a flat C. And we looked at that, or we looked at some triangle designs, and we looked at these are all designs that by graphic design standards would be way better. The colors are going to translate better. The scaling of the logo can go infinitely low and high. It can be SVG'd very easily. All this kind of stuff. But you lose what makes something evocative. The whole reason that people love art is not that it's perfectly readable and translatable. It's dirty. It's unusable in many contexts. It doesn't make any sense outside of the exact moment that it was created. It's a true expression of a moment in time by a human being translating the universe through them. You can't just take that and assume it's going to be fine if we just keep chopping it down.
Well, it's important to note too, like a logo is not necessarily art.
Hey.
Like a logo is a creative thing, but like the use case of a logo, right, is not the same thing to me as a piece of art on a card.
Oh, it's definitely different, but it suffers from the same processes.
But like in terms of like what is the intended goal of this logo? It's a mark for a company or a brand that is recognizable. Mm-hmm. So in terms of like, because you could have some of the sorcery artists do a logo for you, but like there's different outcomes that you need on that based on compared to like art happening. So
there's definitely an obviously use case for it. It has to serve a function rather than just evoke feelings. But also like some of those the old classic brand logos, the old industrial logos, the old theater logos, the old Paramount stuff. Yeah, it's not translatable perfectly to all these digital mediums where it technically needs to exist. But man, it makes you feel something when you see it.
Sure.
And so like, I think as something becomes more usable or more perfect, a lot of times it just becomes more boring. And like, when I look at the difference between an early Magic card and a current Magic card, in my own mind, like, I'm like, I want this one way more. And it is worse design. Like it is not, the design of the card is harder to read. It has a texture on it that is, doesn't translate very well. There's not enough room in the byline for X, Y, and Z. The texture behind the card text makes it less readable from a distance and on the table. All this kind of stuff.
But I think that's pointing at it.
But look at it. It's a vision for something.
That's the main thing to me. Is like that the reason all those things have been updated and changed and it's more readable and all this kind of stuff is because it's leaning into sort of like a logo. It's like, what's the point of this card? And the point of the card in Magic at this point, like when you're asking the questions, is like, this is a card that goes to a game. Mm-hmm. And it needs to be readable and it needs to be like easily understood.
All icons readable and various.
Which feels like a bottom-up mentality. Even the way your card is written from a rule structure, it's like, you need to be able to read this on a card and understand how it works.
Yeah.
I've been playing card games for a long time. I played quite a bit of Sorcery. The number of rules questions I had to ask a judge this weekend, or at SorceryCon, was so much higher than any game I've ever played, because there's just so many like out of the box weird scenarios, and based on the way the card's written, it's like I played an enchantress who animated a silence, and because the silence was animated, it canceled out its own text first, so it didn't cancel out the text of the rest of the cards. Mm-hmm. And I was like, it's like, what is happening?
And you know the number of judge calls we've made when we're playing by ourselves? 0.
None.
And I think that's fine. Like that's the way. So we're talking about it in this context of like this refining process is too often seen as only upside. There's significant downside to taking the original spirited idea and creative process that existed whenever something was put into the world, and then just starting to strip it back, strip it down, and change it, and assume that you're going to retain the beauty of the original vision. Mm-hmm. Same thing with organized play, right? Those original conventions, the original Lake Geneva Gen Con, the original getting together and trading cards because there was no way to do it on an online platform. Going and meeting people who love the hobby that you love just because you want to be around people who enjoy the things you want to be around, not because you want to win the trophy. Those kinds of things is where it all started. And the refining process has been, we need structure, we need rules, we need judges, we need systems that move a player from this to the next step, to the next step, to the next step, because then they can become the world champion of all. And we made it all happen where it used to be 50 people gathered around competing for a trophy that somebody bought for $10 and passing it around year after year, which is what Dave is doing with SorceryCon. It's like, what has become more obvious to me than ever in the past year to 2 years, post-pandemic, I think coming back, into the world, as you will, and sorcery emerging and all these TCGs competing for attention and space, is that there has been a tremendous overreach for me, like in my mind, in the way that I want to love and appreciate the hobby, when it comes to over-refinement of everything. And I want it to be wild again.
Well, welcome to sorcery.
Yeah.
I think that's when you talk about the early Magic cards. Like, again, what's the point of this card? It beckons to me of the early stuff feels more like art. Mm-hmm. The art itself, but also even the card. Like
the
creation
design
of the
is
card.
an artistic expression too, right? What
Even
would this dragon do?
The wording on it. It's like, this feels more like a artist created this instead of like, this has been run through the spreadsheet and it checks out in our rule system.
Yeah.
Right. And that kind of a thing. So similar with organized play. Oddly enough, Magic started with none of this stuff. None of the optimization for any of these things. And I do think the more you optimize for those variables, the less it becomes art and the less humanity is involved in it. And it feels different. So from the ground up, sorcery, and that's part of my there's a bottom-up approach with organized play, which is you can do what you want with it.
Yeah, figure it out, right?
And players are figuring that out. I think the game is designed to be bottom-up, which is, hey, most people are probably just going to play this at kitchen table. How does the East-West Dragon work?
Moves freely east to west.
Okay, left to right. I mean, yeah, but if it's exhausted, can it go this? It's like, we can figure that out. But like, it's intentionally designed that way from the start. And it's cool. Like, and the tournament there were tournaments here, but they were so lightly incentivized. I think everyone, at least at SorceryCon, just the vibe was people are excited to be in person playing a game together.
Yeah.
And seeing what kind of crazy things that can make happen on the table.
And what was nuts is like, it was still very intense.
Yeah.
I mean, at the top tables,
competitors going to compete. You know
it's
what
like,
I mean?
yeah, you didn't have to put anything on the line. And it was as good of a competitive environment as I've ever experienced. I wanted to win so badly. I was like, I want to take this water deck and I want to do well. And I felt that pressure every single game. And I didn't, there was nothing on the line.
Yeah, which it's nice. That's the sort of, if you can achieve it, I like to compete, of course.
Yeah.
But if you can achieve, I think most people do. If you're playing a heads-up card game.
I just want my ideas to work.
But sometimes the pressure of like, well, the winner of this gets $2,000 and a card worth $2,000 and maybe more if you keep winning. That's a lot to put on a game.
Yeah, it can put things over the top. I can boil the kettle over, if you will. The kettle's already going to boil.
Yeah,
you don't have to boil the kettle.
Two humans clashing is already enough. Now, so it was really it's fascinating to watch it play out. And I think you don't usually. I said this all weekend, but most games I've ever played, you make a game, you make a competitive game. And the logic goes, well, people that just want to play at the kitchen table can figure it out. And Sorcery has flipped the script, and it feels like we're making a game that is going to be phenomenal for that type of experience. And the competitive people can figure that out.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put that.
Let me tell you this, as a competitive player and as being around competitive people will figure out a way to compete.
That's right.
Like, we do not. I remember back, this is the early Star Wars TCG days too, right? Like, running events out of the back of Michael's movie rental business, movie barn. And it's like, there was no organized play.
Right.
But we were meeting every week and having tournaments, and I really wanted to win.
And it meant a lot.
Yeah.
And like, everybody wanted to win real bad.
And sometimes it'd be like, Jason just keeps winning. And everyone's like, we got to beat Jason. Like, we can't. He's too mouthy. Like, we just can't let him keep doing this. We can't let him do it,
Yeah.
And we'd be trading cards to try to help people figure out how to beat Jason, And it's like this. And finally, I don't remember. I feel like Philip had a deck at some point we were all really tired of. And
sounds familiar.
Someone was put together a deck to beat him, We're all just like, yes, finally.
We did it.
It's like Ben with his Maester deck in the early store days.
And then sometimes they would be like, yeah, I'm just not going to bring that anymore. Like, I like, it's not even fun for me. I'm just winning so much,
Yeah.
And that's cool. Things will work out. So let me put this out to all of you. I saw Chris Peach coming through, still loving the modern Magic take. It's just amazing how different impressions and opinions on this kind of stuff can be. Obviously, that's the beautiful thing, the tapestry of humanity and the infinite opinions that we all have about different things. I think I would like to know from all of you, when it comes to organized play, is there a similar longing for a less refined system, or not even a longing for it, but just like an admission that it doesn't need to be so formalized. It doesn't need to be so put together and tight and tidy for a game to succeed. Are we past that point? Because I think that the thinking has been, this is a necessary function of any successful TCG. It must have these planks. alphaclash doing their Level Up Expo 25K, right? So that's coming up. They feel like getting onto that side of the equation is critical for the success of the game. And for them, it might be, is the weird thing.
Well, and I think, the reality of big events like that, oftentimes for a publisher, it's not, the event itself is not like a weird profit center.
Yeah.
Like they're giving out cash already. I saw participation for even alphaclash, participation promos, playmats that they're getting made, etc. But like, and even Magic, right? The big game. So much of the dialogue is like, well, competitive players don't really buy cards. They buy singles and they get exactly what they need, and they win and they sell stuff. And they're not. Yeah. It's everyone else that's buying the cards. And so that's what's so weird about that top-down approach is like, if 5 to 10% of your people are competitive players, or 20%, 80-20 rule, let's just say it's 20%. But if 80% are in Magic playing Commander, playing at the kitchen table, playing casually, not competing at a big level, it's like, what's the point of the organized play, especially the big professional circuit piece? I do think, sort of like watching sports, that can have a huge like promotional value.
It's fun to watch.
Like if there was really, really good sorcery players playing, and maybe there was like produced content of them playing at a big tournament,
could do such a thing,
that would be fun to watch. And most people, like even for Fab, most people aren't going to be Pro Tour Fab players.
But I like watching.
But it is enjoyable to, and if it's a thing you get to do on your table, it's fun to see what it looks like. Same with playing basketball. Like I'm never going to be in the NBA, but I still enjoy watching it. So I think there is value potentially in it. But what kind of weirdly started happening is Magic became very successful. They bolted on all this Pro Tour competitive. They started designing more efficiently and more towards that.
I mean, they even started designing for Commander. Like, what a slap in the face.
Yeah, eventually. But
it's like the one format that was safe from like your top-down treatment, and then they go right into it, man.
But then it sort of becomes like this, and this is we've had this conversation before, but new publishers see it, or fans of new publishers. Right now we're seeing this with Sorcery. We talked about this in the You Don't Understand Sorcery stream. But like, because Magic has this big Pro Tour thing going on, or they did, and that was their next step, and that's what they did, and they were successful. It's like, the assumption is, all right, well now Sorcery needs to have 3 or 4 sets a year. They need organized play. They need tournaments. They need this. They need this. But as you optimize for that, it's like, at what point does that become the point? And I think that's where a lot of games sort of like get into really funky territory.
Actually, casual play is kind of said as like kind of a, like that. It's like, no, that's like, it's like you're discarding all of the engine and then filling up your gas tank. It's like, you have to understand the casual player base is the main player base. It has to be. I saw a video, guy, you guys see this SEO rockin' video where it was like, this game totally took over my life, and it was about playing Magic. Canadian guy, probably 20 some odd years, and maybe 19. He's a young videographer. He has this channel. Most of his stuff's got like 1,000 views on it.
I'm excited to get to some of these comments.
He releases this like mini documentary of him falling in love with Magic rather suddenly, and then going to compete and trying to win like a regional qualifier. And he records this, very nicely done. But I was amazed by his process. He was like, yeah, and I'm going to go compete in this regional. So what does he do? Gets on the internet, looks up every competitive deck that exists, finds one in his budget, clicks the buy all the cards I need for this button, gets them delivered. That's it. Never touches a box, never touches a pack. His entire Magic journey, none. Hasn't touched a single product aside from singles that have already been opened, right?
Wow.
So when I think about that experience, I guess what we're going to do today, we're going to crack 6 packs of sealed. I'm chasing down certain cards. Like I just like love opening and playing limited formats and stuff. It's like, yo, that's an important sector for us to just say, Yeah, the casual players, but it's really about this pro circuit kind of stuff.
Well, and I guess that kind of comes back to why'd you make the game in the first place? And if you made the game to create a high-level competitive sport, which feels like what Fab's doing, right? But most games, as far as I'm aware, that's not really where they start. Like that's kind of added on. Like we're going to have the sport version of this. They're just wanting to create an experience on the table that gets people together and playing physically across, like
just a creative expression, right? of an artist,
and to create this like shared interest and the story that's usually involved in the art and all this kind of stuff. So it really is sort of just, what is the point of all of this? And when we talk about casual kitchen table, it's just the reality that most times when people are playing this, it's like this is something they're doing to have a good time, to relax, to enjoy, and sometimes a little bit of competition is enjoyable. But at the same time, like it's very easy to slide into competition is the point.
Yeah.
And EV, expected value, like all the time you see this store is charging max for a road to nationals and they give no additional prizes, and the EV on this event is so terrible, and they're making $500 profit and not doing anything with it. And then it's like, what? You paid $20 to have a space all day to enjoy this hobby.
Do something that you maybe love. Supposed to, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, that's the thing. Like I felt like the vibe going to SorceryCon was mostly people there just wanting to hang out, enjoy, and play sorcery in person with a bunch of other people. Yeah. And that's it. And that was like in terms of, I don't even know what the entry was. You bought the tickets. Like $100
$100, I think.
And so like it came with a sealed pool.
Yeah.
I think and they had these mats that were really cool.
And some stamped card or two.
Yeah, but like just
didn't even care.
That's the vibe. It was like, I'm here to play Sorcery all weekend, and that's worth something. And they bring this nice hotel space for me to do this in, and they're bringing people together. There are people from New York, people from Oklahoma, people from Indiana,
Texas, etc.
Ohio. And so that is where it kind of gets. I have nothing against tournaments. I'm obviously a very competitive, tournament-driven person. But when it becomes the reason,
gathering,
it takes on a very different culture.
Gathering is everything competing. Yeah. Yeah, and the conventions are a great platform for gathering.
The competition is a good way to get people to gather.
True.
But is the goal to get people together, or is the goal to have the competition?
Yeah.
And that's an important question to be asking.
Yeah, I dig that. Jonathan, hit me. What kind of comments do you? I got a million comments. It looks like. Awesome. I saw D-Rod was even up there with a tick. I haven't seen
Rodriguez.
I haven't seen D-Rod's name in 1,000 years.
Yeah.
He and Rafe used to play like Soulforge on that digital app and live together. And they were just like crazy about it.
He was along for the FFG Star Wars LCG Destiny Journey.
Yeah.
And I think he played X-Wing too, right?
Journey it was.
Someone was in the Discord in the Classics channel talking about watching our Star Wars LCD tutorial this week. And it dawned on me that was like a decade ago, just so we're clear.
The Arkham stuff came out. We'll get into that. I was just trying to mute this.
So I've been editing the interviews we did for the SorceryCon documentary. And I am really blown away by the amount of people who don't come from stores and maybe play with like one other person, like their dad or their one friend, or like a kitchen table night where they're like talking to
like Tony.
Yeah, Tony has 4 people, 2 people that became 4 people, sometimes 5 people, and then they just heard about this, and there's like more than just those examples. There's some guy that only played 4 or 5 games, but loved sorcery and wanted to play more, and would come to multiple conventions, but had no interest in going to a store or even really playing on a regular basis in any kind of meetup, but like wanted to gather to play the game. And that was just like, it never occurred to me, because all of the stuff before, the way I conceptualized a gathering or a tournament was you play tournaments in your local store, so you feel like you're good enough to play tournaments at a larger event, and then you win that or you lose that or whatever. But these guys just wanted to play sorcery.
Yeah, there was a lot of folks there that had never really played in person. Even there's some people that had only played on TTS, and they were like, I just want to get my in person play on. It's like, sweet.
Yeah, I didn't expect that.
If I could go to one of those kinds of things, like, and you know what? I just want to see if my deck works. Just compared to everybody else's ideas, is it even feasible? If I could do that once every quarter, That'd be
the
it.
cool
That's
stuff is,
enough.
like, that breeds that whole local meta thing. What was happening at Sorcery when you're playing with one other person, a closed environment, and then you come to these bigger events. Like I came back home and I was like, oh, I could do this. I thought about doing that. That's a whole thing that some people have been doing. Like that's what they deal with. Yeah. Like you look at, I was watching the finals game for Constructed, and I think Kyle was running a bunch of anti-stealth stuff. It's like, but he plays against 4 other people. He doesn't really go to stores. It's like whatever his.
They were stealthers.
They
were stealthers, and there's an element of pride too. So when Zach wins the limited event, which he did, that's validating for us because we're primarily testing each other's skills. And so if Zach did really well, that must mean that like, okay, well, we're on the right track in terms of evaluating cards and like figuring it out. And so there's this community bond that forms in these smaller groups too, where if anyone does well at a bigger event, it's like that values the whole community. And so, it's a great, comment. I need to talk to the people.
David's back up because that was some interesting stuff.
Hey, David Floating Skull, is the balance okay today? Tell me about the balance.
He said yes early on.
Okay.
And so does Steel Slim.
Ryan Roper was saying how much he came in a little late, but he was surprised and excited that we had a John Cam. Just want to keep mentioning it.
Way to go, Ryan. D-Rod saying, I think players can be lenient with less structured, organized play, but I find many stores wanting more of those guidelines to provide a good experience for all players who want to play on site.
I have a question.
I've got a little soapbox on
that. That
this.
requires the right players to come in and do so, where stores find themselves wanting more hand-holding to give those casual players directional moves. So my first hype question before I know you're about to go into it. Before you get running away on me. I would be curious, and if you're watching this back later, please leave a comment. If you're watching now live, I'd love to get some data. But in your experience, when you're playing a game at your local store, how often is the store actually, or someone that works at the store officially, managing and hosting that event? And how often is it that a community member is the one doing it? Because like D-Rod's saying here, stores want more structure. And I'm curious if stores want more structure because they're going to have their staff do it. And if there's not structure, that's obviously more work they're going to have to do to kind of figure this out. Or if the structure helps them have, like, we have these promos, we have this person volunteering to host this thing. Here's an understood way of this working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good point. Good question, rather. Here's
You may get the box.
we should get
a soapbox stand up there.
That we can stand up and just stand up here. Maybe get the podcast mic involved.
Maybe we can have a soapbox cam.
That'd be nice.
Like stand up and you have a podcast mic. So and you go over there in a little like soapbox.
Oh, I do like that.
Maybe
pretty cool.
Then we could have.
I've got a lot of good ideas.
A soap company sponsor the soapbox.
Speaking of, hey, Nalgene water bottles, mainly say 100% HDPE food grade plastic. Although the data on microplastics is not going great.
Are we switching to the Clean Canteen?
I've had two people tell me about how microplastics are, turns out, as you might expect, not great for humans.
What's a microplastic? For people that don't know.
Well, putting the two words together gets you pretty close.
Small plastic.
Yeah, tiny bits of plastic.
This is microplastic?
No, it's not. This is macroplastic.
Things break off of it and get into your body.
But over time, and you wash it, and if it gets really hot,
you're supposed to wash those.
Yeah. But anyway, our bodies are basically 90% microplastic at this point, and it comes from everything. It's in the seafood, it's in everything we eat, it's in there's plastic.
Oh yeah, because all the fish are just full of them. That's why I don't eat fish.
Which it's not just the fish, my buddy.
I don't eat. Well, it's the vegetables too, isn't it?
It's everything.
Dang. That's why
micro.
That's why the answer to our plastic trash problem is not some microorganism that can eat it up, because then it would eat all humans.
That is my. This
movie. Is how zombie apocalypse happens.
Actually, I want to make. Yeah. They release it solves the problem, and then it starts eating the humans. Yeah. Anyway, our friends at Nalgene have told us that there's no microplastics possible.
That's all.
In this 100%.
I think you should not. We need to cut this one off. This is a bad legal joke here.
Closer to getting that cease and desist.
No, yeah, they're good products. I'm still going to use them. I don't.
I'm just filling up this bad boy from our friends over at Ozarka.
I mean, plastic's horrible. Everything's awful at various stages of its journey. There's no great silver bullet for anything. You get a glass bottle, it breaks into shards, and then you gotta buy a new one. This hurts you.
This has to be said. Floating Skull saying, instead of a soapbox, he needs to be standing on a bolt box.
100%.
Right to sell.
Literally, if we just have a stack of bulk boxes over there, it's like, all right, go stand on your bulk box.
All right, here's the basic thing that I would like to get across is I think that publishers have vacuumed up a monumental amount of responsibility that everybody else has decided to give to them because they were willing to do it. And I don't think that is the way forward for things. We're talking about this top-down, bottom-up thing. Publishers are doing absolutely everything for everybody now. Everything. They're making the products, manufacturing. Heaven forbid, talk to Andrew about just manufacturing a product. It's an absolute disaster trying to get things manufactured. They're getting it from the manufacturer all the way over to all the distribution centers where they're supposed to go. They're working with signing contracts with the distribution centers to figure out where the products need to end up in what regions. And then it gets all the way down to retail, and they're asked to provide kits for me to incentivize players to come in and play this game. Provide incentives for me to get players to buy this game. Tell me what to do with your product so that people... It's like, you're the retailer. Like, you're David and Alex in this equation. Every week can be SorceryCon for you. You have to figure out how to make it awesome for the people that you want in your store. Like, that's not anybody else's job. Like, there's nobody sending you the freaking golden spoon of, if you just do what I tell you, everything's going to work out for you. It's like, it's your community. You want to be a community leader. You want to have a community center, then lead it. Like, don't offshore it to the publisher and to your community members who are then told to do whatever they want, as long as the people they bring in will buy products from you. That is a constant thing that we have been like batting around for over a decade now. Like, when we opened 1.0, the whole idea was like, well, why don't we have it where players don't have to run the events? That was the whole promise. And it was great. We had a 35-person Game of Thrones LCG community. The problem is you got to build communities that make you money. That's...
Well, it's really a problem because the local model is misaligned right now, which is most local retailers make money selling products. They don't make money hosting tournaments.
It's the same old thing, man.
Yeah. And so how many resources, and especially like if you're not Magic or Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh!, the reason publishers find their way into doing these things is that a store is looking at it and saying, well, why would I do anything besides host the things that are like super successful for me? Mm-hmm. And so publishers are incentivized to like make it easier and easier and easier and easier for them to do something.
Yeah.
But it's a really weird dynamic.
Yeah. It's strange.
Now,
I'm Gordian.
The other reality is players can do whatever they want. So,
and that's becoming more and more obvious because Dave is playing at the brewery, y'all.
Yeah, I'm excited. So with SorceryCon, we're doing a documentary about this kind of bottom-up OP approach. Very excited to see that. We did a ton of interviews. Those were really cool.
Yeah. 5 hours of...
It's sitting at 6 hours right now before I cut it down.
6 hours of footage, interviews.
No, wait, 8 hours. Sorry, 8 hours.
8 hours of total footage or just interviews?
8 hours of interviews.
8 hours of interviews.
35 hours of footage.
What are we going to cut that down to?
I don't know.
5 minutes.
35 hours of footage cut down to 30 minutes?
Probably. We'll see.
10 hours.
A lot of useless things to record, 10
hours, that's just me talking about winning. Anyways.
I just love it.
I think that is what is so appealing about this sorcery bottom-up approach to me, is that, and you see this all the time, even now, people saying the things sorcery should be doing, not recognizing how hard it is to get distribution or retail to do these things you want them to do. And there's so much responsibility being put on the publisher.
Yeah.
If you look at the roles and responsibilities, like their primary function is design a great game. Like that's what they do. And over time, they've just had more and more. It's like you got to promote, you got to do the marketing. No store or distributor wants to touch it until they're convinced people are in.
Yeah, until your marketing has already done this job.
And then it's like, well, this is strange. Even there was a story someone shared on Discord a month or two back of they go into the local store, they're trying to convince them to carry Sorcery before it comes out, and they're like, no way. Then a month after Sorcery comes out, they go back, and now the owner is complaining they can't get product.
Right.
And it's like,
right.
In this case, right, a publisher is expected with, one, they have to convince distribution and retail to care. They have to convince the players to care. And then they need to print enough product. I'm going to get my bulk box here.
Yeah, get on your bulk box.
I love that so much.
Man, I got to have a sting for that.
Yeah. So they're expected to produce enough product that all of the distributors and retailers who, after it's out and people decide this is a great game, who want product, can get the product after the fact, even though you have to print it 4 or 5 months before it's actually releasing.
And 4 months, they've got to be able to have access to it for months.
For months, you have to have access to this. And if there's not enough at that point, when people fall in love with the game, you sell out, etc., it's their fault for not printing enough. While at the same time, not getting really any commitments or information up front from distribution and retail. And then also, if they print too much, where it's
kill the game,
just
and they kill the retail chain.
It's just going to be online at the cheapest possible price. Yeah. It's impossible for people to sell it. Side note, you can't do both. Right. It's actually impossible to print enough for it to be available for months on end, and also not have tanky price of a TCG. So
in the current system,
that's right.
At least.
Yeah. So anyways, I think there's a lot of responsibility that gets put on publishers and a lot of blame, even though, especially small to medium sized like indie publishers, they are so restricted by what's possible. And like my favorite takes are always the one where it's like, well, they should force distribution to do this. It's like,
right. Yeah.
Okay. I don't think you understand
Look at how much leverage you have in that relationship.
This dynamic works, right? Like most publishers are like lucky if distribution will take the thing. You got to convince them. And even then they're not wanting to take risk. It makes sense. Their margin, distribution is the tightest margin in the whole chain. So they don't want to take risk. And retail, it's not like it's a panacea of profit.
Low cash flow, no risk desired.
They need to be able to get product and move it quickly. Like I get it. Same with the tournaments. It's like there's a reason they can't have someone on staff just do sorcery stuff.
Right.
And it's because doing the sorcery stuff is not inherently profitable.
Right.
Anyways.
But if you somehow found a way to make people coming into your store and playing a game profitable for you, that would be very good. For everybody.
I mean, that's the golden goose right there.
Because I tell you, the breweries are doing it. So like if it's better to go to the brewery and give them $20 in beer money than it is to play at your local store, like it's getting harder and harder to be the de facto place to go to do this kind of stuff.
And part of that is because like most retail stores, like you're having to be a retail store.
Well, you said retail.
A community play space.
Right.
And the model is not inherently based on the second one, even though that's where all the value's at.
Right. Right. Same second verse, same as the first, man.
Yeah. Tim Aiken asking when local pickup's coming back. Tim, as soon as it can, or maybe never. Actually, I don't know.
It's pretty low on the list of priorities, man. Like, it's a great. I would love to offer. It's a great thing. It's more complicated than it should be. When you think about what it actually takes. How you have to staff it, when it happens.
What you have to communicate
you
when it's not happening,
etc.
What else is going on? Also, right now we're in just very much a space that's not a pickup friendly.
Yeah, it's not great.
It's not ideal.
Drive up to the big front.
But I'll tell you this:
bay door.
3.0 is going to happen as fast as it reasonably can.
That's true. And you can pick anything up there,
that's
or
right.
Nothing. You can do whatever you want.
That's the whole conversation. I don't know. Can you order online and have it picked up anymore?
I don't know. Is there even products?
That's the better question.
I don't even know.
Things are going to get weird.
I feel like we were supposed to talk about comments and connect with people in this segment of
we got more comments.
Yeah. We keep getting fired up.
I know.
Well, one comment launches 1,000 ships.
Man. I know. And it's probably not good.
This just made me laugh.
Moose Mystic, get on your bolt box, kings.
All right.
It would have to be way back here.
Man, that makes me think.
I bet you could.
So,
yeah, the hands are selling.
I'd be a little bit higher.
You have a mic coming from up there? It's just the whole thing?
Mic down. That would be actually quite funny. I look tiny back there, by the way.
All right. This is kind of off topic, but I thought it was a good question. So I marked it to bring up to you.
I have indeed put butter on
that lamp.
Tweak 87. Do we think the lack of mentoring has created leaders who adopt tyrannical and
wow, that is a deep one.
Practices?
Dictatorial, yeah.
People who think they know better than the experts they hire.
Tell me about your job, Tweak 87.
And was this in relation to anything?
This is where we were talking about Star Wars films and by committee and stuff like that.
I think that the problem is large organizations or companies, particularly public ones that are profit driven, and it's by committee, right? Like we were talking about what makes an indie game not that long ago. I think once the owner operator person is no longer in control, it's like when control is a group of people, inherently is when you flip the switch. So like public companies report to a board and boards report to shareholders, and there's quarterly reports and incentives and all that kind of stuff. But like, yeah.
Do you think there's too much power concentrated at the top of our economic system?
Well, that's a different question.
Is that leading to lifeless production of consumer goods?
I don't think it's necessarily this concentration of power, because weirdly, if you actually just give a director the power and the authority to do their thing,
like a Denis,
art can come out.
Villeneuve.
Also, early reviews on Dune Part 2 are like 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah. Just leave people alone.
So
sometimes it's not good, but leave them alone. That's it. Let it be bad sometimes. I mean, I think maybe that's it. Maybe the funnel is designed to take a 10 and turn it into a safe 7, and to take a 5 and turn it into a safe 7. Yeah. But nothing's ever better than a 7.
There's this weird idea.
And sometimes the 4 gets out the bottom somehow, and it's like
where you think maybe this is the problem, that somehow someone got convinced that you can please everybody.
Yeah.
Even some of it.
Well, the more people you please, the more money you make.
That's it.
And it's not even please necessarily. The more people who are like willing to do it and not be offended by it, it's just like, it's okay.
Yeah. If it doesn't light anybody on fire either way, then actually that's a more profitable decision.
Yeah. It's safer. It's more profitable.
I mean, sometimes.
But sometimes if you let people go, you get Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
And then it becomes an industry-changing force.
I think it's a trap, though. I think
Akbaring.
Well, I think it's easy to believe if we make this a 7 for a lot of people, it will do better than if it was a 9 or a 10 for some.
Yeah.
But almost, I could put up probably a bunch of examples together of like when someone just made what they wanted to make. There are going to be some people that this is like a 10, and there's going to be a lot of people that hate it.
Mm-hmm.
But almost, it reminds me of like my dad's take on Apple in the late 90s. It's like it was just like, I can't believe anyone would ever buy it. It's overpriced. Like you get way more gigabytes if you buy this other thing, like all that kind of stuff, right? It's like, but the people that are in Apple, like, were drinking that Kool-Aid. I was like, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah, I love this. And if you don't understand that, you get mad about it.
Yeah. Now, if for some companies or publishers or whoever, some are built to be okay for a lot of people, and that can work. Mm-hmm. But I'm inclined to I would rather love this or hate this. Mm-hmm. I find myself in that camp.
That's the beauty of the human experience, isn't it?
And I mean, that's the weird thing for me is that we've reached, because of the internet, because of population, you can have something that really appeals to a small amount of people be successful.
Yeah, there's more visibility.
You still see more and more of it trying to appeal to everyone when there's more everyone than ever.
Well,
it's difficult because also we'll get John's mic working here next time.
Yeah,
we didn't quite have time. It's like it starts out. You can trace this, right? Like it used to be. Music's a great example. Record labels had a giant concentration of power and probably were squeezing out a lot of 7s. They also hit some 10s, by the way. But over time, it gets harder and harder to have the courage for the 10. So you get the 7s, and then we think, decentralization is going to be awesome. So suddenly, break apart the need to have a record label at all, and all these artists can just post their music on YouTube and Spotify, etc. But now what do they have to do? They have to put out whatever the YouTube funnel, instead of the record label funnel, it's whatever the YouTube funnel or the Spotify funnel
or the TikTok funnel
is selecting for. So the record label is now some dumb robot that is trying to capture views instead of at least a human being who could maybe decide they're going to take a chance on something. So there's moments where it gets really creative, but it always coalesces back into some kind of refining force that everyone's then having to play the game. And then it will, destroy itself again, and it'll be a raw creative moment, and then it will come back. Did you have so I kind of interrupted you.
No, I got lost in whatever you were talking about.
No, that's good. Must be good. Any other comments, Jonathan? I feel like I've read like one comment.
Yeah, no, everyone's kind of been on the same path as us today.
So we're apologetically correct about everything.
Yeah, obviously.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Another successful stream.
No, I mean, I think like one of the biggest things is a book I read back in my film studies days called The Pleasure of the Text. It was awful to read. It was a
Ironic title.
It was a what do you call it? Academic. It was an academic book written in French, translated by an academic into English, about what amounts to like camp movies. So it was
a lot of effort for that.
Seriously, but it was talking about like when you don't smooth out all the wrinkles, that seeing those wrinkles causes pleasure, which he calls jouissance, and the people who are French know what that means. It's a different kind of happiness.
Jouissance.
Yeah, jouissance.
Jouissance.
And that's like what we're talking about with bottom-up conventions. They're not all the same. What we're talking about with local stores who are weird that you like to go to, or breweries that people own.
It's weird.
For a long time, and maybe forever, but the intent seems to be you get something like that and you make it reproducible. You smooth out the wrinkles, because it happens all the time in music, where you get someone who's an amateur musician. They want to pay the studio money
all the time.
They want to remove all the noises their guitar makes except for the right notes. They want to Pro Tools it, when really it's all that other stuff that you use singing the song.
Right.
And I think that is repeatable everywhere. It's just so noticeable.
What? I mean, people love NPR Tiny Desk. The least produced thing on the freaking planet, and yet everybody's like, produce.
That is a great example.
Let us be human, Zach. Quit trying to cover it up. Quit trying to change me.
Well, and in the category of tabletop, you have a world that is getting increasingly digital and produced. Nice. And you have...
I think take a bullet.
It was sort of like I was talking about QR codes with Altered, where it's like you have a hobby and a medium that is physical, that is bringing together people physically. It stands to reason that those people, of all people on the planet, prefer a more human take.
Yeah, you would think that, wouldn't you?
I would think. Yeah. But I could be wrong.
Otherwise, I'll just play World of Warcraft.
Yeah. Anyways, I think there is there's benefits to structure. Talk about bringing it back into organized play.
Good job.
A top-down organized play structure, there are a lot of benefits too. Mm-hmm. Like when you see there's a local armory happening, there are expectations that come with that, and there's upside to that. One of the potential downsides of the bottom-up, more chaotic sorcery approach is, and I'm getting glimmers of this, but it's like, well, if everyone can just do whatever they want, host whatever they want, and that's the vibe, you can very quickly have too much. And so
prove it.
Well, that's where I'm curious, because like SorceryCon happened, is kind of the first big community-run event for sorcery, and they're planning on doing it again, per conversation with David. But if there's local/regional gatherings regularly, and there's a ton of people trying to do, like I know SorceryCon was a certain amount of financial risk for them. Mm-hmm. Have no idea how many people are going to sign up. Thought it was just going to be mostly Seattle people, etc. So you could have a world where that like lack of structure creates confusion or like disappointment, or there's things like this might not be feasible because there's not enough people because they're being spread out too thin. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's necessarily true, but we haven't really seen, as far as I'm aware, a bottoms-up approach happen for a game, particularly that's on the level of success so far as Sorcery's on. Mm-hmm. So we will see what happens when that plays out. But yeah. I think the game is great. I think the people that play the game share a really great vibe. And so I'm mostly just excited to see how that plays out.
Yeah, just it'll work out. It'll work out. Like humans figure it out. We've been figuring it out for millions of years. Probably not millions, 200,000 or so. Well, depending on maybe 1,000. I don't know, depending on your spiritual outlook. Also, this idea that the sorcery rule set is like it's so like we don't even know how to. The rules of sorcery are tighter than 95% of tabletop games ever released. This whole thing, they got a rule book, and it tells you exactly how to resolve 99% of things in the game. the whole like this reputation of like, the rules just don't even really exist and you just kind of figure it out. It's not that at all.
I think if anything, it's the way the cards are written are theme, art, lore heavier.
Man, even that is suspect.
I'm just saying.
I mean, in the sample cards, that was definitely the case. But now you have Slumbering Giantess says, Genesis, this unit falls asleep. It used to say, when Slumbering Giantess enters play, it is asleep. It can be attacked by allies, but it will not strike those allies back. Tell me, like, it's a modern game. Like, it's using all the modern parlance. It's a fine, modern, beautiful rule set.
You want to talk about something? Here's something.
Cheesy Boost. I think the lack of new SorceryCon is going to have an impact. How long until the next set releases? Let me tell you something. I'm going to open 6 packs of beta today. I'm freaking jacked about it. I've not even gotten close to mining the depth of the first set.
They're planning on one major release a year, and that's a big topic. We talked about You Don't Understand Sorcery a couple weeks ago, we go into this in more detail. But per the interviews we saw at SorceryCon,
to a man, I think.
I'm excited for us to get that documentary up and get that content out, because the number of people that I think cannot keep up, are not interested in keeping up, get exhausted by keeping up with 2, 3, 4 sets a year, both from a financial and a timeline lack of ability to enjoy something perspective, is a lot. And that is a huge part of the appeal of this game for a lot of people. And it reminds me of, the difference between old Star Wars and new Star Wars, which is like, and Marvel's the same way. Like Marvel started
great example,
pumping out so much content that the quality went down and the specialness of each of them also goes down. Whereas, or like a TV show that has 3 or 4 seasons, they deliver, they're a year or 2 apart each, and then they're just done. That's a very different feeling than like, shows that go on for way too long, or have too much too often kind of, or like the Netflix just binge this whole thing.
Tell me this, man. What if I said the following to you right here? It's 1979. When did Star Wars come out?
77.
When did Return of the Jedi come out?
84.
84. So it's 1984, and I say to you, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I just watched Return of the Jedi. I say, how could anyone possibly keep liking Star Wars if there's not new Star Wars movies? And it's like, you know how? I watch them every year. I get my friends together. I talk about Star Wars. I go to Star Wars conventions. I put on a Chewbacca costume. There's a million ways to love something that doesn't require constant consuming of new things.
There's something really important about that, which is, and this is kind of, Zach, a little bit like the Marvel video that I sent you, but a little bit not. Mm-hmm. But the confidence you have to have in allowing somebody to think about the thing that you've done for a year or more, like it has to have meat on that bone. Mm-hmm. And that's like everything else, like when you're releasing like every 6 months, every 3 months, every 2 weeks, it's like it's not even giving people time to be familiar enough with the product to really enjoy it or dislike it, to find the flaws, to find those wrinkles. It's just like, oh, look over here, oh, look over here, oh, look over here.
Yeah, we think things get sorted out, and they don't get sorted out as quickly as people think they do.
And part of the insanity of Star Wars is like, because there was so little, the number of those background characters that ended up, like you would talk about, and it's like, oh, this scene here with this one character there, like where are they from? And what's their story? But Floating Skull making a good point. He's like, there are tons of Lord of the Rings fans. There's only 3 of those movies. Mm-hmm. And there's a book. There's technically
3 books and the Silmarillion, and then probably like letters from Dad or whatever.
I think here's the thing. Let's go back to 1984, right? Return of the Jedi comes out.
5 years before T Swift was born.
This is the slippery. I love that comparison. Is a slippery slope, right? Which is, if in 1984 you asked any Star Wars fan, it's like peak craze, right? It's this thing. It's crazy. If you were like, hey, do you think it's a good idea or a bad idea if we put out a Star Wars movie every year from now on? I think most people would say, Star Wars fans, bring it on. Mm-hmm. That's why it's a slippery slope.
When would they stop saying that? Around Attack of the Clones?
If they get like 5 years later and it's like the movies aren't good. Because if you put them out that much, they can't be great. And it's partially, and I've found this in so many years of my life, like if you don't have space, like you think about a modern TCG with 3 sets a year, you're continually like, they have to be so far in advance, and the amount of content they're producing, they don't ever get to sit with it. But Arthurian Legends, if I would assume, they get a print on it right now. They're ready. But you get to sit with it.
Yeah.
And you get time to think about
Let's
it.
play a little bit more.
And then that is you're gonna have ideas you would never have had if you just had to get that to the printer so you can start working on the next thing and the next thing. So it's just a very different approach, and maybe people will get bored. But here's the grand question. Let's say 3 months in, you play it every day, you're like exhausted on it, you're like, 9 months from then, if Arthurian Legends comes out and it's great, what percentage of people are going to come back? And what percentage of new people are going to get in because it is that great? We don't, no game has done this yet.
And the other question is, how many people won't get bored with one set a year?
Yeah.
They haven't been talked to in
that's what I was saying
million
earlier
years.
about who's being spoken to with this game. It's the opposite of the normal approach.
We were talking to Tony, and his friend, Alex, have, I think, 6 boxes between them. They got it in on Alpha. They've opened 1 box.
Yeah.
And they do all these like 2-player draft formats. They build up a cube. They do like they're just 1 box in.
F6.
Rajaj was 83, by the way.
83. Yeah, that makes sense. And like,
Was it 83?
it's got to be. Somebody wouldn't lie to us on the stream. It's not possible.
You can't lie. It's the internet.
Yeah, you can't lie. Exactly. I mean, how many people out there? A big thing in Seattle that latched on to Sorcery. David and Alex found a giant group of people playing 93 to 95 Magic, vintage Magic. They've been doing it for 20 years, and they haven't gotten tired of it. So where are those people? Where are those people in the argument?
And again, though,
Why are we talking to the grinders all the time, Zach?
that's the question for me is like, if you play 4 hours a day of a game, 3 or 4 sets a year is helpful.
Yeah.
I've been there with Fab. I'm probably averaging like 2 or 3 hours a day for a while there. And like new sets were very helpful to keep the meta fresh, to keep things changing, to give more things to explore that I wanted to explore. But again, it's just a very different approach. I think the who it's designed for is different. And one of the things I love is that you can go away from it and come back and you'll be fine. But you miss a year of Fab, you're behind.
Yeah.
In like a real way.
Speaking of,
beautiful box.
buy new products from us. Consume. Consume.
Even Arkham's been slowing down though.
Let's talk about the news.
Oh, hold on.
Are you ready for the news, John? Any other comments worth having?
Oh,
Y'all have been great as always.
This is just like Jen's just killing it. We've been talking about rolling bars, so
That was expanded universe stuff essentially, yeah.
yeah, just.
I don't know that I want everybody making sorcery cards though. Maybe I do. I mean, David made the 4-player map and the orb and stuff.
Some of my fondest memories of Star Wars are in the 90s. I started reading the books. And the books were kind of the Wild West. And I think the authors were given a little more permission to do whatever they want. And some things don't really line up in the books. But Star Wars is such a wide world. I would love, and I've said this from the moment Disney took over, if you just use Star Wars as a playground, you give directors who love Star Wars, it's like, hey, you're going to make a film. Yeah, I'm picturing noir films and buddy cops and romance movies. And like, you could do every genre and like rom-coms, etc.
Didn't Marvel do this though?
They all have their Marvel. It's not the same level of freedom either. I don't think by a lot. But if you just let people run wild, I would enjoy that a lot more than some like Marvel Universe synthesized, board approved macro plan that builds. And they don't have macro plan. Who knows?
I think this has changed dramatically for us over the years too.
Yeah,
this has changed over the last decade. That I would give you almost the exact opposite answer. There needs to be a brand manager who can make sure that the experience that everyone has fits together and is beautiful and is nice and et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, I just don't want any of that anymore. I
mean, I think what Marvel did with their all the way through the Endgame thing was very awesome, which was this like really big interconnected story. They weren't pumping out content like they were, but if you actually look at the number of movies and shows and stuff happening across that 11 years or whatever, compared to like once they had Disney Plus and they started pumping these shows out and like, it just, that was nice. Yeah. But I feel like that worked so well and was nice. And then everyone is trying to kind of like do the same thing.
Like you could make like a Mandalorian show and not tie it into the overarching narrative of every single piece of Star Wars media on the freaking planet. It could just be a random guy in space. And that would be okay. But who am I? I'm just a consumer.
But everything that has Luke Skywalker in it sells more, Steven.
We got to have a plushie. Check this out. Arkham Horror back in the game. Okay, so Arkham Horror took a brief kind of hiatus. What it feels like happened is MJ left the design team of Arkham Horror, longtime lead designer of Arkham, has made way for some new people to come in. And admittedly, our relationship with the FFG staff was at one point a giant part of our existence because we just covered all of their games and we went to the conventions and we talked with everybody over there all the time. We have not been in that space since because we get into more indie titles and all that kind of stuff, and they went into the Asmodee direction and etc. But this, for instance, is designed by Josiah Harris with Michael Boggs, Nicholas Corey, and MJ Newman still on some of the
this one's different.
You got-
Expansion designed by Josiah Harris, Michael Boggs, Nicholas Corey, and Jeremy Zwern.
Yeah, so like there's some team members getting involved, and then there's some people here that we have no personal relationship with. Wish them all the best, but are essentially taking over what was from the really an MJ Newman
Core
thing. And MJ, don't know what MJ's up to, but also know that a great number of the FFG team is shifting over to Star Wars Unlimited because this is kind of the company-wide.
That's coming out soon.
It's got to happen. It's got to work. So meantime, I think things have shuffled around. It took a little bit longer to get these expansions out. Asmodee also pulled a little, hey, how are you? Anybody paying attention? And had the release date 1 week apart between these two, and then changed it on some calendars, but not the FFG calendar, to actually the same release date. And we're over here just trying to offer great service. And it's difficult because there's not a lot of consistency around when things are releasing.
Yeah, so there's
and,
like an
things.
Asmodee release calendar that got updated
Yes.
to have them on the same time.
That's the official calendar.
But I don't think logistically anything changed. And I heard stories of some websites and stores and stuff shipping this a week early, or the player expansion, but then this. Anyways,
We should just ship it, man. Just ship it whenever we want.
if you're a subscriber and you were charged, these recently got charged and shipped. Release date would have been last Friday.
Last Friday. Thank you for that. Let's take a look at them. Let's unbox these bad boys. I always like doing this. So this is the Investigator expansion. Look at that.
We also got the damaged copy in case you're wondering why this escaped.
Yeah, we took the damage one. Look, we got two little guys there.
This is one of the biggest. So they if you don't have context, they used to do
Ooh, look at that.
a deluxe expansion
Curses and blessies.
with like monthly Mythos packs coming out. They switched to a singular expansion box, which is nice because sometimes there'd be good player cards in one of the packs. The packs would disappear, and if you wanted to buy the campaign, you couldn't find that pack, and you can't tell the story. But it also comes with this campaign guide, which I love. I got a little.
Kind of got palette jack there. Now, Zach and I used to play a
Did
ton.
you know how I love math?
We used to play a ton of Arkham Horror during the pandemic. We got super into it, and it is unfortunately a bit of like a longing that has been created at this point because the game has changed. The amount of time we have for content is much less. And so the idea of coming in here and playing a 7-8 session Arkham campaign is just, at this point, probably very unrealistic. So a lot of you watching probably saw us play a lot of these campaigns on the stream, and we freaking love that and would love to do it. And we're trying to figure out how to work the cooperative LCGs into the kind of content system and getting some kind of something that makes sense there with Champions and Arkham Horror, especially because you really want to play like an extended campaign of these games. And things are happening so fast with all of the other titles that we're supporting and selling right now. It's hard to have an uninterrupted 6-7 week period where we might even do that. And the investment of time and money into that is also pretty significant. So we're trying to figure it out. But in the meantime, we're just going to take a look at what's in these boxes because that's what we can do right now. And I'm going to read what some of the new stuff is that we get access to. You get 2 fat packs of new Investigator cards. Loving that.
Cardboard.
And just in case anyone's wondering, this is an example of the kind of cardboard that is not meant to be like a display piece because it's very flimsy.
It's very thin. Compared to this is like thick cardboard storage box.
That's a nice one there. And it's got the card storage in it, you know, so that makes sense in terms of damage and whatnot.
But you still could, you know, convert this into a bulk box, you know what I mean?
Into the Woods. H.P. Lovecraft, The Festival. Some fear had been gathering in me, perhaps because of the strangeness of my heritage and the bleakness of the evening, and the queerness of the silence in that aged town of curious customs. The Feast of Hemlock Vale contains a new set of investigators and player cards that can be used to build or enhance investigator decks for any Arkham Horror the card game scenario or campaign. And it has the little bunny rabbit mask, yeah, on there.
Have you seen Midsummer?
No, you know, Shannon said she watched it, and she said it was kind of brutal. I
haven't seen it,
and I said I don't have time for brutal.
I was gonna ask you if that mask gave off Midsummer vibes.
But everything's brutal enough, man. Real life is brutal enough. I don't need to see that in my media. You know, I don't want suffering. I'm over suffering.
Quick segue. In your media, did you guys happen to watch any of the Avatar live action?
Zach, please let me get on a soapbox on this.
Oh, I knew I was queuing it up, dude.
I did not watch it. And let me tell you why. Avatar: The Last Airbender, the animated series, is as close to perfect as anything has ever been. Why in the world would you try to do it a different way? You're only going to be worse. There is no improvement on that series. Making it live action is not possibly an improvement on that series. There's only steps in the wrong direction. That's it. If you have a 10 and you say, let's redo it, the likelihood that it's less than a 10 is almost 1,000%.
You know what?
So I'm just not interested.
I cannot disagree with you.
Ah, thank goodness.
I have seen.
I've heard it's like, you know, middling as you'd expect. I mean, it's fine. Again, it's probably a 7. It's probably a squeezed out, funneled up 7. But it didn't start that way.
I think as much of a fan of the cartoon as you are, you would.
It's an animated series, Zach. It's not a cartoon.
You would hate it.
Bugs Bunny is a cartoon. Avatar: The Last Airbender is an animated series.
Hold on. Let's get the record straight. Definition of cartoon.
Oh, okay. Merriam-Webster over here getting fact checking.
A motion picture using animated techniques to photograph a sequence of drawings rather than real people or objects.
Well, we're both wrong because it's not well, I guess it's a motion picture, moving picture. It is animated, so I suppose it is a cartoon. You're right.
I'm just asking questions.
You're right.
You make a fair point. The only way to go is down.
It's only down.
At best, you can meet expectations. That's like your peak.
Yeah. Right. Why would you do that? Just create anything else that's new.
They could have done a sequel, the next part of the story, which they're apparently making in the cartoon form.
You know what's crazy? Yes, they are doing that. This is unrelated.
Which could also be, as we've always talked about, a problem. Just kind of mine that well too much. Anyways, what were you going to say?
This is going to blow your mind. Josiah.
Is this the campaign book?
Josiah Duke Harris gives us a little congratulations for winning the game or whatever, but says the following. The Color Out of Space is one of my favorite Lovecraft tales. So this is based on The Color Out of Space, also a sorcery site.
That's awesome.
That's where that came from. The
I had
Color
no
Out of
idea.
Space. I didn't know that came from a Lovecraftian idea, and it found its way into sorcery. Okay, is there any way to know kind of what's the... Does it give you... Can you give me... I just want to know what this campaign's about. Does it give you anything on the back there? To tell you like, oh, you'll be exploring the cosmic woods? Yeah, give that. That's what I need.
When renowned botanist Dr. Rosa Marquez receives a strange sample from the secluded and mysterious Hemlock Isle, her instincts tell her that something is amiss. Following the recommendation of an old colleague, she invites you to accompany her on a survey of the island. Nothing could prepare you for what you find there. Deadly, mutated wildlife and a malignant alien presence permeate the enigmatic isle, all while the local residents prepare for a festival, seemingly unaware of the danger. You only have 3 days to find out what lurks beneath Hemlock Vale before its people meet a terrible fate.
That sounds so good, man. I love this game.
It's very good. It is very good.
I want to play it.
If you will it is no dream.
That's untrue these days. It's untrue. Ooh, and you've got residence and relationship levels. A new gameplay concept called the Codex.
Also, this is all the campaign stuff we unlocked. You took this out of it, but... Oh, dude, look at this art. Day one.
No way, dude. That looks really good. I don't know, man. I kind of want to play.
Would it be funny if we just like surprise? We're streaming the entire campaign right now,
and we've got the beautiful map. That's like you were talking about. Well, this looks like a great product. Has anyone got a chance to play?
Oh, here it is. Davey's got you.
Here we go, Davey. In the campaign, you play 3 days, 1 scenario during the day and 1 during the night, like Scarlet Keys, but more restricted and with playable interludes between the scenarios.
Very cool.
How's the experience been? Anybody gotten into the table yet? Let us know.
I like this. It's packaged as all the different little
things
nice. Like you would normally get from the old packs, except for...
I'm loving that art. This is like kind of the theme of Arkham that I would really love. It sounds like it's going to be a little open-ended.
This right here is good art. I don't know who was responsible for that decision, but I like what's going on.
That's beautiful. Yeah, why not, you know? It's like Scarlet Keys that you choose what you get to play in a certain order. So this came out. So if you're an Arkham subscriber, thanks so much for that. Thank you for being a part of the subscription. It was designed for the LCGs in the early game.
The subscriptions?
The subscriptions, yeah. And hopefully it worked out. And we handled it as best we could. We had to move it to where we could ship everything together and save everybody some shipping money. So that was at least nice that worked out. I just wish we would have known ahead of time. And if you're over there at Asmodee, a couple of options that would be awesome. One of them would be to not move a release date within a week of it happening. And number 2 would be going ahead and just releasing these guys at the same time every time.
They made that do this.
That would save a lot of people, I think, a lot of hassle. 1 shipment instead of 2 across the entire world. All your distributors get it all at the same time. Single release date, can't get confused. You can have some retailers getting hammered because they haven't shipped it yet, even though you said you're not supposed to ship it, but other retailers had shipped it or had it available. Some retailers are weeks off, months off. Like,
how do you really feel about it?
I just don't think they really care that much, Zach. I think as long as it gets into the retail environment and people eventually buy it, water under the bridge.
Races.
Yeah.
You may hit the other news real quick.
Yeah, what else we got?
All right, Earthborne. GameFound is concluded. They reached nearly $1 million. Congratulations to Andrew and the team.
Yeah, good job, y'all.
They're apparently opening a pledge manager, so you can get in on late pledges, which is kind of funny to me that there's like a campaign end, but then there's also this like open window where you can do it. But I do get that like it ends, they can charge people, the money can go over to the creator, and then there's now the manager where they're managing all these things, and you can like add orders to that, so to speak.
The system feels weird.
It is a little weird. And that's really it for Earthborne.
Yeah.
Nothing much else going on.
Earthborne's going to be, well, it's going to be kind of quiet. I mean, the podcast is still going. Earthborne podcast is actually quite good. Actually quite good.
We have we recorded a tutorial.
Yeah.
There's a long list of content, though. Yeah. I saw you that this weekend.
We were going to see if we could get it out in time for the GameFound before it closed. We couldn't.
Because I was sick.
John was sick for like 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Like zombified.
Yeah. So now we can take our time with it.
So it's like, well, I mean, we'll probably just wait a little bit on that bad boy.
Hey, this is hot news by Davey. I looked at their Discord to try to figure out when the Pledge Manager was opening. Now we know.
Davey's saying Pledge Manager is opening on the 28th. That is this Wednesday. So if you're watching this, it's Monday.
You see Larry's comment? He said, I did a lot of sweating that week.
Yeah, he did a lot of sweating. He's good at hiding. He's good at hiding the
Look
sweat.
at him there.
Yeah, that's Lair like it's got to be like a LinkedIn profile picture, right?
You want to get some headshots done?
That's like the guy that that's what you submit on your resume for sure. He doesn't look like that at all.
No, he's a wild man.
Yeah,
just a party animal.
Way less put together most of the time, I gotta tell you. He's got he's got a lot of weird art behind him.
This
most
is all
of the time.
lying. He does. He has some beautiful art. All right, next up. You ready for the next thing?
Yeah.
alphaclash.
Yes.
A lot happened while we were gone.
We got a video coming out on Friday for alphaclash.
Part 1. Now available on TCGPlayer.
Yeah, man, they made some serious moves.
Yep. So
they're relentless.
For TCGs, TCGPlayer as a platform, as both for everybody, for players to be able to get singles, for retail stores to be able to sell singles, for players to be able to sell singles, all the extra stuff, or all that kind of stuff. Huge piece of the most modern TCG reality. So that was a big ad.
Only people that lose there are the romantics. And don't worry about them. They'll be fine.
They can figure that out. They will romance how they want. Next, or I guess some notes on that. John did some research, and he was saying that most non-foil cards are in the like 50, 60 cent range.
Yeah, beautiful.
So, which that was, when we were talking about Altered a couple weeks ago, it was like the cost barrier on like most cards for most games is not significantly high.
Yeah.
So it was hard for me to, that's an example of that playing out. So anyways, we follow on that thread. Draftbox is releasing on March 15th.
That's right. It's coming up.
We have pre-orders and subscriptions for that haven't charged yet. They will be charging imminently. So if you want in, or if you have a friend who wants in, you need to tell them about it. Now's the time.
Draftbox would be great. So you can open that up. You can draft those packs. It's alt arts and foils.
Do we have the promo that comes with it from us?
From the... I don't think.
Okay.
I mean,
it's
I
on the
do.
website.
We do have it. It's on the website. Yeah, you can find it on the website.
All right. Then another. This is. I should have done this one first, but they also announced that they had signed with 2 new distributors.
Yeah, big deal.
One is in Europe, Blackfire.
Blackfire. That's like the main one, right?
I think so.
Or is that the Mercenary Group?
Mercenary?
No, that's Blackwater, I think. Don't get those two confused.
All right.
That would be embarrassing.
The other one is in Canada.
Don't send the Mercenary Group all of your products.
And it's called Universal. So
not the studios.
I think that's right. Before this, if you wanted to get product in those countries, it was challenging, or in those regions. So that's cool to see.
Yeah, it's good. Good stuff.
And then, of course, they have their first big organized play event happening end of April at the Level Up Expo. And it's the kickoff of their organized play circuit. And it's really cool. They're doing...
I'm watching, man. I can't wait to see how this works.
One of the days, it's Saturday or Sunday, is the Set 3 World Premiere pre-release. So first time it's available, sealed, or I think it's sealed.
That's unrivaled, that set.
And then the other one is Constructed.
Yeah.
And they're both like notable, and you can qualify for the whole Pro Tour and the whole 9 yards. So
yeah,
that's a big moment for them. I think TCGPlayer plus distribution plus their first big organized play effort.
If you love superheroes, check it out.
Yeah.
It's like the superhero offering that we're really behind currently.
And the Draftbox is really, for context if you're unfamiliar, includes cards from set 1 and set 2. Is packaged to be draftable. And then there's like 20 alt arts from the previous sets. No new cards are in that set. So if you own nothing, that's a good place to start.
That's a great place to start. It's the place to start. You're the Dragon.
Yeah.
Check that out.
All right. Next, we're talking about...
One second. I know this is a little derailing, but like I was pretty impressed, or it impressed me that being on TCGPlayer was such a big deal for stores to carry the game. They were saying that in their podcast.
Well, a lot of stores, that's how they sell their singles.
It makes sense.
So,
they manage their inventory.
Product.
Yeah.
The extra inventory.
Stores are incentivized. Generally, most stores will tell you they make their money on singles locally, and then they also can just post their extras on TCGPlayer. And that's their inventory management. So that helps a lot. Because like, I'm not going to crack open a bunch of booster boxes if I've got 2 local players. And they buy like the 5 cards they need and then it's done. But if I have a platform where I can sell them all. Now, the other piece of that though that's interesting is like this is the TCGPlayer reality. This is the forever, universal marketplace reality, is like demand is now across the universe. So like all players are buying and all sellers are selling. And so you see where those prices and demand and stuff ultimately shakes out. And so that
it's also it's used as a reference point a lot too.
Yeah.
So like when you're trading fab stuff, where you're selling even locally fab things, it's like, well, TCGPlayer, because it's the whole market, it sets a market price. And so right now, if you are a store and you open a box of alphaclash and sell singles, how do you price these cards?
Yeah.
And most stores don't have most people don't have the ability to say, this is what people would be willing to pay for this thing.
that old Dragon magazine doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, it's like that Beckett.
Beckett's not here anymore, man.
You got to use Beckett with the trades. Get Beckett out while you're trading baseball cards.
It's been decentralized. Now it's all the people.
Yeah.
It's the players.
Next, we have Flesh and Blood.
Flesh and Blood. Heavy Hitters continues to seemingly be a very big success for Flesh and Blood.
Yep. They announced the next set too, Part the Mistveil.
Yep,
Part the Mistveil. They're going to go back to Talents. They're hosting a world premiere in Japan.
In Japan, yeah, big.
And it's the world premiere event. All the packs are actually in Japanese.
Cool.
It's the first time they've ever printed Flesh and Blood in Japanese.
Yeah, that's really cool. Japan is that the biggest TCG market? Or second biggest? I think it's the biggest TCG market in the world. Think about that.
Yeah, they can correct us if Japan can correct us.
I'm almost certain that's right.
But I think so.
TCG is big in Japan.
Somebody said
It
that.
seems like Fab would be the kind of game that might just take off like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think Pokemon. You know, it's like it's a big deal.
I do know it's either Japan, or is there some other way of defining that market? I don't think it's Asia. I think it's just Japan.
I think
It's like crazy big.
I think they are the number one in Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff. And we watched that interview with James. If you haven't seen it, that Australian TV interview, New Zealand TV businessy interview.
Chris Peach saying it's the second biggest market,
Second
behind
biggest.
the US.
Great. And they are, the expansion into these new markets like Japan is a big part of their strategy. So I think they set out to be a global TCG, and they're making good on it, man.
They're
Just
doing
one
it.
step at a time.
So next up we have Sorcery, which we've been talking a lot about.
We're going to play some sealed today. The last of my first beta box. Look at this. Hey, hit this top down. Look at this. Look at this filthy person. Here's a dirty secret. That's all my other... I haven't organized them yet. Sorry, Zach. But
We have a Minner and a Maxer.
we got 6 packs each,
Boom.
and we're going to play some sealed.
And these are Steven's products for the first time.
And
in
if you
long
pull a
time.
curio, it's mine.
I don't think that's how that works
That's
anymore.
how that works.
This isn't
These
a
are my
gift to
cards.
me.
They came out of my truck.
So Arthurian, they revealed before we were gone, right? The Love Potion. Have we talked about Love Potion on the stream?
No.
So there's also the round table, right? We've seen
Yeah.
2 cards
I
from
don't think
Arthurian.
we talked about
Legends.
the screen either. So you
Yeah, round table and love potion. But
I don't even want to talk about it. I'm just excited about it.
a 6-cost potion that can take control of something is really good. It's very much more balanced than Infiltrate, I'll tell you that.
I've learned over the past few weeks that 6 cost is an important threshold.
It's a massive number in this game.
Yeah, 6 is where you're in no man's land. It
Everything at 6 needs to be like destroying the world.
Yeah, it really needs to
And
be
love
crazy.
potion does. It does.
Yeah, because it takes something until further notice.
And I think, is it a sacrifice ability? Sacrifice the potion? I think you can play it down onto the thing and immediately use it.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any amount of
no
Interference.
summoning sickness, so to speak.
play it. And like Battle Mage, throw that
sacrifice.
Throw that on
Sacrifice
Battle
levels.
Mage, sacrifice it instantly, take their 6 strength thing.
Isn't it until
it's
the thing
over.
leaves?
Yeah,
Like,
it's forever.
so basically until you lose.
Or until a frog eats it. Is that? No.
Avatar
I mean, you
is
take
really,
it forever.
really strong on the Avatar
They can
because
still
it can't leave play.
Get rid of it, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But you could also have a little, you can have like a sneak thief, a stealth unit. You throw that love potion on that bad boy.
It's why Infiltrate is an incredible card.
I've got 2 of them in my
Because
deck currently.
it's like you playing a big unit and then losing one.
But yeah, stealing stuff is the
Same thing.
worst.
Yes, the same thing with Love. But Infiltrate has it's like they're tapped the first turn, and if they take damage, they go back, or they lose stealth, they go back. This is just like take it.
Also, it looks great, and it'll be fun to play with.
Yeah.
And it'll be a bomb and sealed.
Yeah.
And I love it.
There's also, as noted earlier, tons of events happening. So Pete, who we met at SorceryCon, he won the Courtesan Cup qualifier. I did not know
incredible.
he won.
I didn't know
dude,
that.
I was editing the documentary, like
Way to go,
preparing
Pete.
it, and I just turned that on, and I was like, "Hey, that's Pete."
Is that the Pete that hadn't left the house in 18 years?
That's right.
Wow.
That's
Pete
just
has like 15 children.
10,
Is that
but yes.
once you get past, I don't know,
I think his
5,
brother-
it may as well be
his
1,000.
brother owns a game store called Commander Games, and this was his SorceryCon was his first solo trip in
18 years is what he
18
said.
years.
First
telling
solo
you.
trip in 18
And I guess
years.
Baltimore was his second solo trip.
Yeah.
Back to back.
And
he
also,
might be going down to Texas. for his first
I beat Pete in the last round of the tournament.
It's a nice rhyme you got going on there.
So all the lessons
who's
that
the
Pete
champion?
learned going to the Courtesan Cup were from me.
Importantly, Pete was undefeated in Swiss.
Undefeated in
constructed,
Swiss.
And undefeated in top 8 sealed.
Undefeated top 8 sealed. Ooh, nice. Did they do constructed sealed?
That's my understanding.
No way. That's
Wow.
incredible. If you did that, that's great. And who hosted that? Was that Louis' Courtesan Cup? I know he's got a qualifier thing going on.
All
Or
I know
did.
is in Baltimore.
Well,
Baltimore.
here's what I'll tell you.
Yeah.
The next 3 events, March 9th, Courtesan Cup qualifier in West Virginia. March 16th, there's March of the Mortals in
March
Texas.
of the Mortals. Yeah, see, it's great. Drew from On the Plate is trying to get like a yearly thing going.
March 16th as well, Sorcery Contested Realm TCG Community Day in Auckland, New Zealand.
Yeah.
See, I don't know who's
Beautiful.
who's where. Also, the Sorcery TTS League apparently has started. John notes, very cool prize structure. Play 8 games against other participants before Sunday, April 14th. That's it.
Dude,
remember the participation?
the way they do the Sorcery League is so genius. We are going to implement something like this on our Discord server. Do you know how it works?
I don't.
You go to like a channel and you tell the bot via command, I'm
in.
looking for an opponent. And then the bot finds anybody else who has entered, I'm looking for an opponent. And a lot of times you can put a time limit on it. So looking for game 2 hours. And so then the bot finds other people and then it says, hey, Steven, this person's also looking for a group. And you message them. And then you set up the match in that moment. You do that with 7 different people. And that's how you complete your league.
Check the box.
There's no time. As long as it's 7 different people at any given time in the period, then you've done it. You've played in the league.
Cool.
Justin was saying even like there's some people that signed up the last week and just
Last week they hit 7 games and they're in.
Yeah,
That's it's a good way to do it.
Cool system. And I'm sure I've seen tons of people talking about hosting sorcery events. So I hope that continues.
It's in our hands, y'all.
Going. Yeah. Last but not least, Marvel Champions. FFG live stream from February 21st was postponed.
I did see that.
Lots of cards were spoiled from the Age of Apocalypse.
Yep.
I know very little about the Age of Apocalypse or Apocalypse and X-Men, but I know everyone I know that loves X-Men can't stop talking about it.
Yeah.
So that's charging in the not so distant future too.
Yeah.
For the next thing.
That's quick.
So if you want the next Marvel expansion, check out this
Marvel Champions.
Age of Apocalypse.
Get it.
Et cetera, et cetera.
Expansions. Hey, how was your last experience playing personally? Because I know you got a group that you play with.
Marvel.
How would you rate it? 0 to 10.
10.
Really?
So it was a combination. It's the Mutant Genesis box, campaign 4, and it was it's like Toad, and it's 4 different. It reminds me of the Wrecking Crew.
Sabretooth and that
Sabretooth wasn't in there, but I think Sabretooth was at the beginning of the campaign. Blob was in there,
yeah. That was like the early villains on the animated series.
Yeah, and so it reminds me of Wrecking Crew, except for it's done in a way that is, I don't want to say it this way, but I'm going to. It seems like they learned a lot from the Wrecking Crew, and they applied all those lessons to this.
Most improved player.
Yeah. Like I liked Wrecking Crew when it came out, but the way this functions is like very good. We had a great time, but also we went from like super heroic extreme champions all the time to we play in this group, in the group I'm playing in. It's 4-player. We're all X-Men in the X-Men campaign. We play like every 3 to 4 months, one session, and we take like 4 hours, and it's just like we catch up before we're setting up, and then we play and we take break. Like we're just talking.
Charcuterie.
No, it's not that. It's like Saturday morning cartoon actually.
Yeah, cool.
And it's just a group of great. It's Eric, Rain, and my brother Tim. And there's great people. We're all there with a similar like vibe, and just trying to set up cool moments, you know, that are thematic and make sense and stuff. And so it's been great.
Yeah.
It was the Galaxy Most Wanted campaign that was sort of at the tail end of us playing Heroic all the time, and that was just like a heavy campaign. This has been great. Apparently the box after that, before Age of Apocalypse, is like noted as like the best one. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Sweet. That's great. So yeah, Marvel Champions, and then finally we got Ashes. Correct me if I'm wrong, Zach.
I didn't have any notes on that.
We placed, we got all of the Playmat pre-orders finalized.
Oh, yeah.
Placed the order.
They came in.
They're in, right?
They look great. I checked them today.
So they will be shipping out very soon.
Happening.
Yeah, so those mats will be shipping out very soon. That's like been a great turnaround. I've been so impressed by how quickly that's all come about. So those mats will be out soon. And then we've got the next expansion that's coming up is the Siege of Zombie.
It looks great.
Siege of Lord's Wall. It's a classic zombie style encounter, right? I think, and it sounds like it's going to be kind of like a terrifying prison style thing. Is what the Ashes was talking about.
What die type is that?
You would ask, wouldn't you?
It's got to be holy, divine. Yeah,
it's got the meteor.
Yeah, divine.
Holy, divine.
That's Odette.
Yeah, it's got to be divine.
She's like.
So this is the 4th of the PV expansions.
There's going to be 7.
There's going to be 7.
One for each magic type.
Yeah.
I love it.
And then what happens after that?
What happens after that? We don't know. I don't know.
You know?
I don't know.
I mean, there's conversations. People are talking.
You know what? I like
Nothing's happened until it's happening.
I like hype too much.
Oh, I can tell.
You know what I mean? Not like I'm super excited, but like teasing things. I just can't resist it.
Do you like surprises? Yeah,
I do.
We had to have that.
That's why I like opening booster packs.
Yeah.
Surprise.
So what else? So Ashes is coming. Hop on that subscription if you want to get those future releases. Of course, those releases are the PvE mode of the game. So if you're a Marvel Champions, Arkham Horror, Earthborne player, that's a great one to add to the quiver. Different experience, but still great. And then actually, some would say it's greater. And then you also get the PvP. The cards can be used in a head-to-head format as well.
Apparently,
so
that scenario we played on stream a couple weeks ago that we won, of course.
Never lost one personally.
Apparently, the community's finding that very challenging.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we got lucky or if we did something wrong. But
I mean, you can say it that we're just the best Ashes players.
Chaos Theory was saying that the testing team reacted to how easy we were saying the previous one was and tried to really amp this up. Then we still just beat it on stream, which is very funny.
We can't lose.
Can't be stopped.
We got 30 plus years of combined TCG experience.
Way more than that.
40 plus years.
Yeah. We might be on 50 at this point.
50 plus years of combined.
I would have been 10,
looking at numbers.
10 when Pokemon was happening. So
reading abilities.
Yeah, it's probably 50.
And deciding if the juice is worth the squeeze. We've been doing that our whole lives. So, what can you say?
Which is why we can go to Sorcery and somehow I can win a sealed draft event. I was going to say earlier, this might surprise you.
I got 12th place in that.
I got somewhere between 0 and 1st.
I should have won. I not won.
Did you have like a?
I had a deck good enough to go 5-1, and I failed. That was my fault.
You made a mistake?
A critical mistake. Yes,
that hurts.
I was at 6, and I've been playing the game at 6 mana for a long time. Had the major explosion in hand. Was definitely a great shot at turning the game around. I was going to kill 3 Amazon Warriors.
I know this story.
Yeah. And then I reached for my spell book because I'd been doing it so often. It was just
spell.
Oh, start of the turn, draw.
But you needed a sight.
Oh, I was supposed to draw a sight. I lose the game.
Devastating.
Yeah, but you know what I did? I said, okay, I'll play this and pass.
Read them and weep them. So we're going to play Sorcery Sealed. Also worth noting, we went to SorceryCon. We filmed the finals, the constructed, and the sealed/draft event. We're doing, for first time in a long time, Steve and I are doing commentary after the stream on those videos. So we'll have produced videos for these games, which I'm very excited to share because we happened to film me drafting. And I went in 100% thinking I was not making it out of the top 8. And I ended up playing in the finals. So it'll be cool to see the drafting process and then also the game itself. But I will say, the thing that might surprise you, I think I maybe prefer sealed sorcery.
Say it, dude.
Over constructed.
Say it.
Like, I love constructed, don't get me wrong. But, man, the sealed format for this game is just great.
You know what I like is this battering ram card.
Is that
boy.
It's really an idea ahead of its time, this one. You think about a sealed reality. Do you want me to zoom this in, or you like this, Jonathan?
You can zoom it a little bit.
I don't care.
It up on the chair. It wouldn't be a streamless.
I mean, it would just be. I would just have to stand up. It's not a big deal. But yeah, battering ram is not a great limited card.
Yeah.
Check this out.
Look at this pack, though.
Not a strong wall meta right now.
Hey, those scorpions, that's one of my favorite units.
But look at this. So Vanguard Knight's a great unit at 1 Thresh. Heat Ray, great spell at 1 Thresh. Ice Sense, great spell. Stargo Scorpions, great unit. Avalon Dryads, great unit. Pirate Ship, great unit, maybe, but not usually. Land Surveyor, great unit. This is like heat. Absolute heat.
I got Vanguard Knights up.
People can see.
They're the Vanguard. That's all you need.
Vanguard Knights.
Yeah, look at this pack, though. You ready for
Are you a Dryads guy soon?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's fine. It's like a 2-cost stone.
Well, so this is how good sorcery is. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
We were at SorceryCon all weekend doing the documentary. I was playing sorcery. These guys were doing the documentary, filming it, interviews, all that kind of stuff. And then, was it Sunday night in the hotel room? Sitting in bed, opening seal pools, putting decks together. Because he was asking about the Dryads, and I remember us convincing John to cut 2 of them out of his deck.
It depends on the deck.
Yeah. Check this pack out though.
But like it's a one more cost stone.
So chain lightning, that card's awesome.
Got it. But 2 thresh. You
Divine healing.
Yeah, 3 thresh is tough.
Scavenging Fiend. But this is the real Grim Reaper.
Oh, nice Grim Reaper.
That's your card.
I get a unique.
Love the Mad Dash.
Yeah.
Love the Belmont Logbowman.
Yeah. They're a better idea than they are in practice a lot of the time.
They're so good.
But they force you to play around them. So.
Azurage Caravan.
Great. Dragon for Infiltrate.
Blood of Ravens.
That's fine.
Fanvale Music. Or Muse.
No.
Lightning Bolt.
Yep.
Unravel. Teleport.
Yep.
Great card.
Any movement abilities the stock has gone up.
And this is Sleep. It's a blue card. We just put it on.
Yeah, we don't want that. I anymore. I just make a stack of cards that I want to play.
So I open all my packs and then I go through and pull out the cards I want to play. Dude, Fireball's
Lucky
good.
Charm, but a Pudge Butcher there. Oh, and the Bull Demons. Oh, this is a great card. Bull Demons of Adam.
Dude, I got a Pudge Butcher in this pack.
Whoa.
I'll raise you a Pudge.
Dead of Night Demon is play. Don't want the walls. They go into the pile of shame.
Scorched Earth.
Blink is great. No. Grapple Shot. Come on. Minor Explosion. Land Surveyor. Plumed. Woo.
Common Sense is a great card. Foil Palabury Bats.
All right.
What were we going to say, John?
That's the one that really entered into my understanding of sorcery after SorceryCon. It's Common Sense.
It's
Common Sense, man.
A tutor that gets almost any card in your deck out when you want it. I got another foil in here.
Yeah, you too. Just cut to it. Men of Ling.
Ooh, that's a cool one.
They're fun too.
House Arn Bannerman. Those things are amazing. Ooh, Mountain Giant. That could be interesting.
That's like kind of a bomb and sealed, although that threshold is tough.
That's a cool foil. Name the card.
Oh, Chaos Twister. Hey, play that too. That's great.
Yeah, we're going to play it.
Card. Host Eagle is fine. 3-cost airborne. Wildfire is an incredible play. Holy Ground. I like that. That's a great sight. I'm not going to put it in my stack. Riddle Sphinx is my rare. Great card in sealed. Wall. No. Blink. Yes. Every time. Roaming Monster. I'm not as hot on it as I have been in the past. Drown. We'll see if we get enough cards, but we won't.
It's got the problem that it's blue.
Mercenary is fine. Unravel, I just don't want to risk a dead card. Teleport, great. Nomads are actually my stock, and the Nomads have gone up. Movement +1 is actually quite good.
David's saying that Scorched Earth is great and sealed. What are you talking about, Steven?
Isn't the one you destroy all your sites?
And everything there.
Maybe the way David plays. I don't plan on losing.
Do you think Skirmishers of Mew is any good?
Yeah, I think that's a good one.
Ooh, Screaming Skull. Let's hope we get the Battle Mage.
Man, I got lit up by the Battle Mage in Constructed.
He'll do that, dude.
No, it was a triple grapple shot, Crown of the Victor, pull, opening 4 cards.
Triple grapple shot will do a number on anything.
I couldn't do anything. He was coming in at 6 strength. I was like, well, I mean, you got the 1 of unique. You got 3 grapple shots. You earned it. Yahtzee.
Earned it.
Giant Shark is unfortunately not great here.
Ooh, Bottomless Pit.
Apprentice Wizard, 2nd grapple shot. Love that. Blizzard, you want to like these cards. I want to try them. I want to play them at some point. Not going to today, but
I just opened a Sandworm and it reminded me in the top 8 of the limited event. I was playing Zafar, and turn 2 or 3, I think it was turn 3. I'd played a tower to get to 4, and I played a Sandworm. He goes, plays a land, and then he's like, "All right, I'll bury your Sandworm." And I was like, "Okay." And then I put it under the site, and I was like, "He has burrowing." He's like, okay. And he's like, "I'm not even gonna ask to take that back. We're just gonna live with that."
Second Treasure is a card before its time as well.
Dude, foil Earthquake, get out of here.
There's a Major Explosion. That's a good one. Waypoint Portal can actually be good, but not for 3. Fire Harpoons, no. Amazon Warriors, yes. Swamp Banes are not bad. I'll put them in the not bad stack. Belmont's great. Heat Ray's great. Another pirate ship's gonna tempt me. It's gonna tempt me. After
my experience playing Water on stream, my new, sealed strategy is I make a stack for each element. I'm going to make a stack of locations and a stack of
polar bears.
Look at that.
Ooh, that's pretty.
Non-elemental cards. And then I slide the blue cards away. because I've just been
it's enough.
drowned in the pain from that stream.
Hey, I've got some another grapple shot. That's 3. Chat, buddy.
Torres asking if y'all are excited for Dune 2.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
You know, there's a little bit of pressure. Like, is this actually going to be worth?
Early commentary is nothing but glowing.
Yeah, that's good. I'm gonna run to the little restroom here.
The little
I
restaurant.
got sacks of really bread and butter, and then maybe.
All right, Guffey's got the question.
And we'll see if they're.
Hit me with it.
Is the thrill of... Oh, hell, I'll put my face up on here. No, I can't. Is the thrill of cracking open new packs still as strong now as years ago? Do you still get that expected electricity?
So it's really hard to beat the little kid version of that for me, just because as a kid, you know, didn't have money, didn't get packs very often. So when you did, just having anything in the pack was like notable. And I wanted, as an example, I wanted Charizard for so long and so deeply that when I finally did get that, I lost my mind. But at the same time, I will note that opening packs for a new TCG you're into is similar, and it has a nostalgia, right? You have all those memories and feelings associated from when you were a kid doing it. And so Sorcery to me, though, like I opened a box and a half of Alpha and realized I hadn't been reading the cards. Sorcery is a very unique game. And I think the way they have structured the game with the uniques and the rarity and the curios and the art and just the way it is a very good opening experience. Like, I probably enjoy opening it more than I've opened any card game since when I was like a kid.
Did you give me a curio yet?
I didn't. No curios here.
Man, we haven't seen one.
Everyone talks about, I mean, that the art being great is not a minor thing for opening packs. You know, you're not just looking for the right words. You get cool stuff that looks pretty.
All right, so first run through the big stack is I don't have enough water stuff for anything to matter. So they're going.
Yeah. So
it's always a fun thought, you know.
I sort by element and then I get rid of the water cards. I'm not joking about that.
Sealed is very difficult for water.
And nothing against water, but if you're just looking for a heuristic.
If I got like 4 ice lances and a few turtles, maybe I would consider a 1 splash. Maybe. But pirate ship's waterbound. You don't have a way to make things water. So you're done. End of discussion. And that's an example, by the way, of where you might say, well, that's a downside. Also, I really want to run Blizzard. I feel like there's some potential to be explored here.
So,
but
good.
The downside. Let's talk about the downside is they didn't design this necessarily to be like a perfect sealed set. They designed a bunch of water cards that looked like what the art was on the card. That's the downside of top-down design, is it leads to formats that may have moments where you just don't play water 99% of the time. Yeah. Whatever, I'll take it.
So then I go through the other 3 elements.
Are you still giving like a tutorial or something?
And I just divide by threshold across these 3. And I put, so here's my 3 row stacks, 1, 2, and then anything past that. Meanwhile, I'm also taking out cards I absolutely will not play. And I create a maybe pile if I need to.
Yeah, I'm just doing what I'm doing is like, of the cards that I think are the strongest cards in my sealed pool, I'm going to now separate them by faction, and then I'm going to put 1 thresh stuff and then multiple thresh stuff in different piles. And that's going to tell me like, oh, well, if I go heavy into this element, I get a lot of these cards that I want to run that I would otherwise not have access to. Miracle Workers is always on the bubble.
Every time.
What
it can be devastatingly good.
Like on Scavenging Fiend, it says Genesis conjure a broken artifact at this location.
Yeah, something in your discard pile.
Broken.
Or I think any discard pile is a broken artifact. It's something that's been discarded.
It will be good once potions show up again.
Potions are going to make that serious. Wow. So you learn a lot here. This is the beautiful format. Beautiful format. Okay, what do I know? Like, what I know here is that if I go heavy into fire, I get access to some absolute hits. So I get access to these 5 cards. 2 Minor Explosions are that's just a fantastic card. Warp Spasm can be absolutely nutty if it works. And this is the weird card in Seal that can win you games you have no business winning. Nobody's going to plan for it. Double an allied minion's power. Whenever it attacks and kills a unit, it untaps. So you throw that on a freaking Amazon Warriors. It's now 10 power. It can roll through like 3 or 4 things and probably still hit the site. And that's nutty. Bull Demons is a giant bomb in Seal. There's no other way to put that. Giant threat, you tap it, move 3 steps in a cardinal direction, and then when they enter each location, they strike each untapped unit there. So it's just a way to get a lot more action economy out of a single unit. It's also a 5 power. Major Explosion ends games, starts games, all of it. You just got to get to 7. And that's where, like, if this is a big part of my strategy, maybe the Avalanche Druids or Dryads make more sense. If I had like 2 Major Explosions, it might make a lot of sense. Obviously, I'm not going to go into multi-air just for 1 teleport. So I'm going to cut this teleport, and I'm going to stick with this beautiful set of 1 threshold air cards. Just lovely. Lovely set of cards. Obviously, if I'm going fire up here, I leave all of these bad boys in. And then the question is, I've got 3 Land Surveyors, that's okay. Miracle Workers is okay. Amazon Warriors is great. Vanguard Knights is great. Belmont Longbowmen is great. Pudge is great. And Pikeman's pretty great. But let's count our cards here. What do we get? 25? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So I've got 21 cards that I want to play here. I probably will go 1 Thresh Earth to pick up a few good cards here, and I may end up on the Dryads, maybe a couple Land Surveyors. Not a bad call.
And I really wish. So I have this Grim Reaper.
Shield Maiden's a big card there.
It'd be really nice if I had like grapple shots with that. That would be super good.
That would be sick.
I do have a spin attack, which would be funny. Like go on a location, spin attack with the Grim Reaper, and then you know what happens next.
You know what happens. For this, I missed these cards. These are all important cards to have in the conversation. Oh, I got a Fireball too. That's massive. And Chain Lightning. And then it comes out of bodies for me, Zach. I don't think I'm going Earth here. I think I'm going to be Air Fire. I've got a couple of Apprentice Wizards. You got to look at like Apprentice Wizard versus Land Surveyor. Which would you rather have? And if I'm already going in air, I don't have to pick up the splash here. It looks really tempting. Now, Earthquake's also very attractive. And Men of Ling is not bad here, especially with 3 grapple shots. That's pretty good, actually. That's really good. So it looks like this is going to be well enough of a deck to not have to go all the way into Earth.
Oh, they're great with grapple shot.
Yeah.
They're so good. Yeah. I think in my draft deck in the top 8, I had a Men of Ling and then 2 grapple shots. I never pulled it off, but I really wanted to.
Cloud Spirit, ultimate blocker now.
Great blocker. And then it's like, I've got this Holy Ground, which can be really notable, or it cannot do anything. So I think I'm just going to put away this Earth package, and if I end up with a deck that just looks weak, I'll come back to Earth. But let's see what we can do here. Zach, how many bodies do you want?
The good ones.
Yeah, just the good ones, right?
Just whatever the good ones are. So I'm on a I have a lot of really good 1 threshold fire cards. And my generic starting point is 4 in terms of locations: 4 fire, 4 earth, 4 air. And then I grab all the 1 threshold stuff out and I see what is 2 and 3 threshold is worth doing. So sometimes I'll go down to 3 of 1 or 2 colors. And if you have a 25 card stack that's really good between 2 elements, obviously you can go 6 and 6. But interestingly, to me, like the raw value of the different lands is so good that I actually want the mix, because most of the time there's not a lot of greater than 2 threshold things. You have 3 towers for air that once they're in play, the other ones don't do anything. So like 6 air and 6 fire is fine, but like sometimes just having an extra resource to put a 1 health body on the table, and you have that kind of optionality between the 3.
Yeah.
And with the way the mulligan works, I found you can get a little greedy with those resource types.
You can. You absolutely can.
So, anyways, like in the draft top 8, I was on 3 colors, and that surprised a couple of my opponents because I would play 2, and then I would save the 3rd one until I was ready to play that card. And I would tap, play that location, then drop, an unexpected lightning bolt or whatever.
Yep. Yeah, that's
a cool trick.
Beautiful stuff.
That's good stuff. Anyways, like check this out, man. I've got 2 sandworms, a Petrosian cavalry, a Azaraj caravan. Then it doesn't stop there. Got a Violent, got a Sirocco scorpions, and then I also like spin attack, Wills of the Wisp, and Mad Dash. Just like great 1 threshold fire.
So in all of the cards that I want to play, there's actually only 9 creatures. Technically 11 if I bring in the Apprentice Wizards. But all of the spells are absolute fire. So I'm in a really fascinating situation where I kind of might have to bring Earth in to get access to Amazon, Vanguard, Belmont. Probably.
And this is why I point into common sense and why this is so crazy. Between fire and air, this is my stack of ordinaries, and this is my non-ordinaries. It's literally 15 to 5. So 75% of my deck is ordinaries at this point. So that is a card that says pay 2, choose any card you want out of 75% of your deck. And when you're at like the 6-7 resource threshold, most of these cards I could play common sense and play immediately. That is very powerful. So 20, 21.
Let's just look at what happens if I just play all the cards I actually only want to play.
24, 25.
How, don't you go back and forth on Highland Clansman?
I love that card, man.
You never go back? Only forth?
Well, I've never gone back now. And it's really just
It's great.
when you play that 6th site and it's a tower and you just send that guy in for 5.
Yikes.
It's a game breaker.
How has your thoughts on Remlin Nomads evolved?
They're okay. Them blocking at +1 movement and not taking damage is very powerful. So the defense update makes them a lot better than they used to be.
You take Dead of Night Demon over Remlin Nomads? Stealth?
I do like stealth.
I mean, I think it is better off the bat.
So, Mini Fridge Jr. asking, how's the pre-con delivery experience to Europe?
From us?
I imagine.
From us is pretty standard. You place the order, and then we ship it. Usually it's UPS International. Some countries we can do USPS. Whatever we can do to get door-to-door tracking. So then everybody can track the package all the way to its final destination, and you open it. Sometimes you got to go pay customs at your port of entry, or where I don't know how that works, honestly. I've just never been exposed to it.
Order ship within a day. I do sometimes make sure information is accurate on there because the customs will reach out and want to verify certain information. But yeah, I would say it's routinely good. Let me get out. And if you have any questions, let us know.
Okay, see, this is more like a ratio that I want. How many? You gotta have bodies. You don't want to be caught without bodies. I probably would not run Men of Ling unless I had these 3 grapple shots. And I do have them. So
here we are.
Here we are. And blinks just replacing themselves is massive.
Is this a sleeve it situation? I assume I got some fours in there.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
I think I've got some extra sleeves because I don't want to.
So 16 creatures. That means I have room for 9 spells. That seems right. 5. Let's go 6, 7. I think I'm going to have to split Threshold across 3 factions now, so Warp Spasm is going to come out. It's a bit of a pet card in this situation. And it makes me want to prioritize playables here. It's like Heat Ray and Wildfire is a big deal. And then I can probably choose one of the big boys. Or I can cut like a Heat Ray. It's so effective.
Heat Ray?
I got some really, really good spells here. Very good spells. Each unit, 4 on impact.
Nope. Saying, trying to set up a learn to play sorcery now, but the issue is local stores in Des Moines have either not heard of sorcery or can't get products, so nothing going on here. I think it's just a reality of a small TCG. And I really love the Eric's Curiosa kind of like sustainable growth mentality, which is just that it's hard to get right now. The opposite problem is that it's really easy to get and the prices are on the floor and no one wants to sell it because it's not worth selling.
Or it's impossible to get.
Yeah. But anyways, it may just take time for like knowing about it ahead of time when Arthurian Legends come out. That'll be helpful.
Well, Grim Reaper's sliding towards me. That was a little creepy there.
He's coming. I hope I get to play this Chaos Twister. That's not my deck.
These are incredibly tough to see. This is like better cards than I'm used to seeing. Yeah.
I have these 2 cards here, Divine Healing and Iron Shackles, that I'm debating. I don't think they're going to go in. 3 Threshold and Divine Healing is hard, but 7 health is so much
massive. Unless you're winning, then just dead card.
Or if you're Death's Door, then it's also a dead card. So we're going to play with that. Let's see how it goes.
All right, so I'm going to send this to you.
Champion Zach-Bone.
Sealed or limited champion Zach-Bone. Got my Crown Sorcerer to prove it.
I need 3 cuts.
Okay.
Actually, 5 cuts. What are your 5 cuts? I'm planning to do like a 3-5-4 spread.
How many grapple shots you got?
I have 3 grapple shots.
Sign them up.
Okay. Sorry. We has the beef. Oh, you got a Riddle Sphinx?
Riddle Sphinx is great. Airborne 4 is sick.
It's mostly because people just look at it and they say, what?
Just a card draw either way.
How many cuts are we making?
5.
Okay. What is happening?
I know. It's like an embarrassment of riches. See, yeah, we're already different. Spin attack is not in the auto includes pile for me.
Well, we're just doing a first draft here.
Okay.
So first draft, these 4 are on my list.
Man, it's got a lot of beef.
What's got a lot of beef?
Well, Vanguard Knights at 4 is super good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not super good. It's fine. It's just a worse
unicorn. If I'm just making a first pass, cards I would never ever cut. Grapple Shot, Blink.
Yeah.
Sandworm, Plume Pegasus, Riddle Sphinx, Pudge Butcher, Shield Maiden, Albspine Pikesman, Belmont Longbowman, Amazon Warriors, Minor Explosion, Major Explosion, Heat ray, fireball. There's another minor explosion. There's another heat ray, earthquake, Sirocco scorpions, the bull demons. It's like that would never come out. So then we're really comparing. You have 3 grapple shots and Mental Is auto in.
Yeah.
Spin attack, again, you have Mental, so that's a way to attack without actually dying. I like that a lot. Spin attack's just very good. Do you have any lethal in here?
Sirocco. 1 Sirocco.
And how many do we need to cut?
5.
Yeah, okay, so what are the 5 worst cards here?
Vanguard probably on the list. I think my thing with spin attack is like compared to all of the universally useful at all times cards, it could sit in hand for a while or be the draw that you need something and it's like this is not what I needed.
The thing I like about spin attack is sometimes it's the only way to get through an army of people to get to the avatar at the end.
I do also have like a million explosions though.
Yeah. Part of it as well to me was you had 2 blinks. So just that in-game ability to blink spin attack and in the game is where I was at. But spin attack would be lower on the list than the rest of these cards.
I'm rating Roaming Monster not as high as I used to.
Yeah.
Like these 2 are kind of on the same level for me of like, yeah.
Yeah, because this is very playable compared to that. Like much sooner. But that has charge, so that also wins games.
It's pretty big deal, yeah.
But yeah, this would be my lowest 7.
Let's go Knights out. Let's go Wildfire out. We have a million ways to do what Wildfire's doing.
And this was kind of when we're talking about the Dryad with Jonathan, like the Vanguard Knights would very commonly probably end up in a sealed deck for me. It just depends on the quality of your deck, though.
It's just,
It's in the bottom of the top.
A lot of other things. And then right now, like for me, a big part of this is I got 1, 2, 3.
Islands out for Airworm.
4, 5, 6.
What'd you say?
7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I've currently got 11 creatures in here. That is low.
Out of 25.
All these tricks in my hand are cool, except I can't spin attack with nothing on the board.
Yeah.
Angerworm would cut Highland and keep Wildfire. I don't know, man.
Don't know about that.
I've got 11 bodies.
Angerworm, how'd you do this weekend? And did you play Avatar of Air or did you give in to your baser instincts? He was asking what deck he should play. And I was like, Avatar of Air, of course.
It is too good. All right, I'm cutting spin attack because I don't like what you like.
Because we're different.
It's fine. I barely know what I'm doing anyway.
I think maybe we can trim down our aggro spells. Add a little bit more beef.
We has the beef.
That'll give us some options. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
So in terms of building my location deck, I've got a number of higher threshold earth cards. So I'm going up to 5 earth, going down to 3 fire, because I've got all my fire stuff's 1 threshold. And then 4 air, because I do have mostly 1, but I have a couple really good 2 threshold air cards. And it's important to note, the one I have double of is Gothic Tower. So if I see that in my opening hand, that's the one I'm most likely to mulligan. So I know it's on bottom. And every time I hit an air location after that, it's going to give me the free resource.
Oh, that's a hot tip.
I have so much like clear the board stuff. It actually makes me want to take Clansman because I think I will get to late game if I need to. I've just got a lot of stalling, kill all the world stuff.
You know what keyword I drastically underestimated
11, 12.
in limited? Burrowing. 1, it prevents getting earthquake and buried, but 2, all the like removal stuff, you can hide things.
Yeah.
Like you can summon them under.
Come on over to water, man. We can hide in the lake all day.
Well, no one plays water. If you're on water, you're already winning. So
this is where I'm ended up. I actually added some beef back in. I had 2 minor explosions, 2 heat rays. I went to 1 of each. I added the wildfire on top. So that'll basically give me a lot of options for what is the right fire spell. Wildfire, Fireball, Heat Ray, Major Explosion, Minor Explosion. I can have a tableau of options, and then 3 grapple shots should be more than enough to control the board. I think the number one way I would lose here is if I draw a handful of just spells, you kill 1 or 2 of my units that I play early, and I just cannot draw any more bodies. So if I have 3 grapple shots and nothing to use them, then it's not very good.
Then it's a problem.
I'm just going to try to hedge against that reality. Okay, and now sights.
Yeah, I'm curious to get your take on this.
I'm going to do 1 of each tower. Sophisticated player.
And in the game, the one game I lost in the sealed event was to Zafar, who ended up playing in the top 8. Got my revenge. But in the sealed pool, he had an angel's egg and a devil's egg. Early turn, he plays a burrowing thing and plays it underground. And he gets both of these. He gets the devil's egg to me, and he hides the angel's egg on his side. And it's like, I think I had 4 burrowing units in my deck, and I was just tapping to draw the whole time. I was like, I've got to draw someone to get this devil's egg and take it back to his side.
And did you?
No. He just demolished me.
It's cool how sealed can do that sometimes.
Hey, we got one off-topic question.
All right.
Since we're here. Do you guys have any plans to visit Netrunner with Part 2 of Liberation, the new set they're doing?
Well, I love Netrunner. There's a lot of things swirling around on the content end of things.
Always.
So we'll see. But we love Netrunner. The work Nisei's doing is really great. So you never know.
Null Signal Games. Here's a stamped card from SorceryCon.
They changed.
That's worth something. Here's a little Bone Rabble, the one there at the event as well.
Look at this. I didn't.
Glad it's a Riptide. That's my favorite.
I honestly had no idea you got anything for doing anything at SorceryCon. And didn't Dave? If you're out there, so what did you have Riptide? Did you have Riptide?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So did you guys say you lost a Diluvian Kraken stamp? Because I have one. They said they were going to send me one, but I think I have it.
Convenient.
I think I gave this to the winner of the tournaments, but I wanted to mention that to you, so hopefully you're out there. But they gave you a Crown Sorcerer, and then have you seen this champion card? I didn't even know this was a thing. Can you go top down for me?
Yep.
Look at this thing. It's cool. Didn't know it was happening.
Yeah, you won that, right? That's hard to win.
I guess. It looks cool. This is a Vincent Pompetti piece of art. And it's got this little poem. And with the final blow, the dragon fell. Its scales shatters, its body a shell. The champion stood tall and strong, forever remembered in tale and song.
Boom.
David says he's out there. Anyways, it's cool. It's a cool thing.
I think the villages are better than Holy Ground and Sealed.
Agreed, man.
Okay. Sometimes you just need to hear it. And then...
There you go, Zach.
Moose, but what's up? David said, no, we lost a great old one. Need to send you the replacement. First place of each one got to 10. Where did the Kraken come from? What was that about?
Do you have an Earth side anywhere?
Yeah. In my deck.
I can get your side.
I think I have one down here as well.
Okay.
Just make it happen.
Let me see.
I've got one of this beautiful shelving back here.
I don't have an extra one.
Yeah.
You want me to look somewhere?
It should be in that sorcery box. That's on my bulk, so you know there's one in there. I may need to.
Is that a box of bulk?
Box of bulk.
Do we have any solutions for which we could store this bulky box? There's 2.
Thanks.
If you aren't hipping with it, we sell a product called Bulk Box. Delightful. Yeah, you want to look at this thing. I've been seeing people post pictures.
Somebody had it at SorceryCon and they were telling me about it and they had no idea who I was. And
this
is beautiful.
Bulk Box logo, and then there's the cover. I feel like Weatherman. I can't see it, but I'm like pointing. Covenant logo. More information on the website, but I love these things. It's a big storage box for, cards.
Okay, Steven is going to overshoot on Earth.
It's an earthy battle we got going on.
I can
here.
choose earth or fire. If I miss my 2 threshold earth, I lose out on 3 very good early game minions. If I don't have it, I have a 7, a 5, a 4, and a 3 on fires. I have a little more time, I feel like, to get that established, and then I've got the big earthquake. So I can live a little while trying to find the last fire that I need, but I feel like I need to get to 2 earth because sometimes these early drops will be in my hand.
So you're going 3 air.
3, 5, 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
You ended up 3, 5, 4 as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be our standard. You flip between earth and fire based on your...
Got an important question in the chat.
Larry Carter, what kind of village do you think produces the most resilient foot soldiers? Well, let me tell you. It's either humble, simple, or rustic. I mean, rustic has to be the most resilient, right? Otherwise, how do you get rusty? But I prefer the humble villagers.
I think rustic is different than rusty.
Not a lot of ego going on with that humble village.
If it was the rusty villagers, that would be a little...
Well, look, Simple's got a steeple. You gotta have soldiers to make a steeple.
And it's also a faith-based army is the strongest. That's true.
It's true.
Gotta have something to fight for, you know?
I don't know. Those look at the humble village. You tell me that's not a sturdy village?
Yeah, but that's like getting hobbits to fight.
Which is great.
Look,
they took the ring all the way to Mordor.
Simple Village almost has a wall going on here.
You think men would have been able to do that? I don't think so.
We're not taking the ring to Mordor, though. We're just fighting. We're fighting. Slap.
A lot of rocks on the Simple Village. I had to lift a lot of rocks for that one.
The humble village is very, very beefy looking, though. Look at it. Look at this. It's just
I
like,
don't know, man.
you got the livestock there.
I mean, it is.
Yeah, it is.
I think I'm a Simple Village, man. It's a tough question.
Did you have to answer the what's your favorite sorcerer card question this week or last week?
No, I didn't interview myself.
I've been thinking about that. I don't know, man. That's a hard thing to answer.
Rolling Boulder.
Yeah, John is Rolling Boulder, man. Or Trebuchet, sure.
I really like the Ashkelon Phoenix, I guess, if I had to pick. I like that art style, whatever it is. The Grim Reaper art style. I love those pieces of art. Like the Will of the Wisp as well. Wills of the Wisp.
Hey, you know what's funny? Mine's probably Sea Serpent, because obviously unplayable in water. I say unplayable. It made it into a version of the deck that Jesse and I are going back and forth on.
Sea Serpent?
Do you know why?
Is this the funny thing too?
Do you actually know how rare it is to find a 4-drop of 4 strength? Surprisingly rare.
No, because I'm used to 3 drops of 4 strength.
It's surprisingly rare.
And 4 drops with 5 strength, you know
It's
what I mean?
surprisingly rare. Let me tell you.
I feel like most cards are 4 for 3 strength with an ability,
That's it.
or 5 for 4 strength with an ability.
That's right. 4 for 4. And here's the idea. You actually, okay, we're gonna, this is the Anatomy of Anarchy stuff. We take the downside of water, which is the card pool, and we're going to splash cards into it that utilize that downside and make it great. Submerge, for instance. What were you talking about with burrowing earlier?
Gets around Earthquake and Bury.
And all the bad stuff, right? And
Can't target it.
You can't Violent it. You can't Coruscant Kobolds it. You can't do all
Yeah,
this
they can
stuff.
just sit there and block and wait.
They can wait. But what if not only could they wait, but you ran 4 Riptides, 4 Mad Dashes, 3 Blazes.
Now we're talking.
And then you could move them +1 so that they could go under and come up and actually attack the side on the other side.
This is what's up.
That's what's up.
Now, read Mad Dash to me. Can you pull Mad Dash up?
Yeah.
+1 movement.
Draw a card.
Draw a card, +1 movement.
Okay, I just want to make sure you don't have target.
Nope.
Tell you what, cards that draw cards are good cards because they remove the biggest cost in sorcery, which is cards.
Yep, that's right. That's right. Okay. I don't know.
You want to go first? Second? I'll give you the honors.
No, we're rolling for it. And in fact, the high roll has to go first.
Oh, I think I have my dice here.
There is no choice.
That's not true.
That's the official roll.
According to SorceryCon. Well,
No, according to SorceryCon, that is the
dude,
official
double
roll.
19s? What are the odds? 1 in 400.
Check this out too. Wormwood. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
your Wormwood dice here. You got those. Yeah, first of all, it's a good reason. This is a game is a good reason to buy a nice D20. So that's fun, you know, because you can track with a D20 your health, and that was on purpose.
I saw this. Makes me happy.
There's my die. Love that. I'm gonna put that on my box. It's gonna be my health. Check this out. Tokens. That's your little token holder right there.
Mine are just in a stack.
Yeah.
Chaos.
Barbaroy.
Even or odd?
Odd. How about high roll?
It was even.
I'll go first.
You also won that one.
Must go first. Okay. And then we are a little... Are you going to share my tokens with me?
I have tokens here.
Okay.
Little Mulligan strat. Okay. So I'm looking at my hand. I've got 2 earth and 1 fire. There's only 3 fire locations in my deck, so I'm going to keep that. I've got a ton of earth in the stack, so I'm actually going to put 2 earth on the bottom. This is important to know.
It's important to know that you're about to get hosed. You'll never see another earth location if you're like me.
Because once I draw these 2, I put 2 on bottom, and I have 3 in hand.
You better see an air.
So there's only 6 other locations here. And if this is both air or non-earth, then I know every card is a 50-50 chance to get my other earth. It's really relevant. Now, looking at that, I kept a fire. I'm going to have an earth and probably 1 air here, because that's just how it rolls.
Can we focus up here, John?
I've got two threshold earth cards in my hand. I like them both. And a 2 threshold air card. I'm going to put the air card on bottom. Because I have to get 2 air. Statistically, that is not highly likely.
Might take you a while.
Early on.
End of retrospective saying, this is awesome. Hey, thanks. Glad you're here. Hey, do you play sorcery?
Look at that. It's a thing of beauty. Don't look. Oh, the friends. Oh, look, it's 1 of each.
Cut this bad boy.
Better. Oh,
Just cut it. Just cut it. Come on, we're having a competitive game.
I didn't let you cut mine.
I don't want to trust my own shuffle.
I cut it.
I want it to be your problem if it's bad. Can you cut this one as well?
Ryan Roper, I'm not sure how you purchase a single nice D20.
Wormwood.com.
It's easy. Load the website up, put it in your cart, check that out.
Mini fridge, I think water is viable currently and constructed.
The thing is, like,
it's viable.
If I would rather have 1, this goes back to even the 1 set a year thing. I would rather have 1 incredible D20 than 15 okay ones.
Yeah.
What if your incredible D20 starts rolling badly?
Everyone that rolled my die for the high roll at SorceryCon, every single person, they pick it up and they say, this is a nice D20. Because it's made of actual stone, you can feel it. Anyways, I digress.
So this is exactly what I was talking about when I put this stack together.
We need the jazz club, man.
I can put it back up.
So I've got 2 threshold earth cards, and I've got 1 of each threshold that I need. So this is where you get into a really stressful situation, because these are 2 very, very good units. But I don't have my second earth card. And of course, as Zach was talking about, I've got 12.
Get some water while you're talking about
I'm at 9. So let's say I don't have a fire unit right now. So let's say I just pitch this. And even right now, like, do I need a blink right now? I mean, it would be nice here, but really I'm probably looking for bodies. And then I say, well, if I don't have blink or anything in hand, I know that I need to be able to play these 2 units if I keep them. So if I go another air site out, I have a really good shot of getting that second earth. But then I'm looking at 7 sites to find 2 air to be able to play things. Also, if I get my 3rd earth here on this draw, I can go turn 2 Albaspine Pikeman, or I can't. I would have to, I can't do that. I don't think I can risk not drawing my first air. I think I've got to hold the tower. I think I am going to pitch blink. I think I am going to try to get another earth. If I hit fire, that's fine. And then I'm going to go another draw. Probably not play anything. I will get some foot soldiers going. And then another draw. I should be able to see 1 fire card by then. And my second earth as well. So let's do that. So let's go blink down. Desert down. The worst draw here would be another air site. So it's a fire. So we basically broke even there. And then we get a roaming monster. So the curve is high here. But if I play this right, I will draw, make a guy, and then second turn I'll draw again. And I think I'm gonna go sites here. I could go turn 4 into roaming monster as like my worst option here. So basically humble village, remote desert, gothic into monster, which can be pretty scary. I feel like I want to see that second Earth card, and I've got 2 turns to find it. Hopefully on turn 2, I can play a remote desert and kill a footman, but I'm going first, which means I probably can't do that. So we're going to draw a site on the next turn, and that's going to be critical to me having a decent opening here. But I've got some good late game, like some good hearty beef back in here, so we should be all right.
Jesse's here.
Jesse's here.
The winning agenda.
Winning agenda. My agenda is to win as well.
All right, you said you're going first because you have to.
I'm going first because I got to. And I'm going to go village, dude, and pass. A classic sorcery open.
All right, I will draw a location at the start of my turn.
That's right, Jesse. This is a sealed game, which means I cannot play water.
We will exhaust, and we'll play a simple village.
Yeah, it looks familiar.
And we're going to get a simple dude.
Mm-hmm.
The nice way of saying that.
Real simple. All right, we're gonna.
It reminds me of a look at this photo.
Look at this graph. We're gonna stand up here. We're gonna draw this site. That's what we needed, so that's good.
Nailed it.
And then we're gonna go ahead and tap roll here, and then go ahead and make a guy. Now your standard sorcery move would say move this foot soldier. You can't do this. Don't. You're gonna get deserted. Don't do it. For the love of God, stop moving the 1 health thing up. Don't do it. It's never worth it. They always have the desert. They always have it. There's not a world where they don't have it. So don't just lose a body for no reason. Sit back here and block your avatar for the rest of the game. It's better than losing in an easy trade here.
I agree. Over to me.
Over to you, Kent.
All right, let's draw another site. What are the odds? Let's tap. Let's play a desert. Get rid of that guy.
Like it was written.
Yeah, drew it right up on the board, didn't we? And I'll pass to you.
You ran the screen. Okay, now I've got the site spread that I need here. There's no reason to try to draw here on the site side. So I'm going to see, I've got a good threat here to roll in at a 4 cost by accelerating into air. That's going to be very stressful for Mr. Bun. So I'm going to draw a spell because I don't need anything out of my sights right now. Worst case scenario, this is a 2 threshold fire card. That would make it dead for probably the next few turns. It is not that.
Wa-boom.
And then our question here is going to be, yes, it's not a question. We're going to go here. And then I'm going to seed these 2 spots right now because I can follow up and start to basically mirror site placement rather than lead. A lot of times if you have deserts in hand, I would rather wait for Zach to play something and then play something to it, and then I have the opportunity to desert in response. So I'm going to play a Gothic Tower over here and play a Pudge Butcher here. And that's obviously going to be like, well, we got to put something in front, or we got to figure it out. We got a foot soldier here ready to join the party.
That's a genuine problem.
I told you, you know, it'd be a threat.
Give that comment there earlier today.
Okay, over to me.
Over to you.
Let's try a site. It's not what we wanted. We will tap here. Play a Dark Tower here. Going up to 4 resources. I'm gonna blink my avatar.
Oh yeah.
Over here, and we'll draw a card.
We love it.
And then I'm gonna move my foot soldier here and pass to you.
Little hidey whitey.
Can't let old Pudgy get in there. Also notably, I went this direction because if I play here, if Steven plays here, I'll feel forced to play here. And I don't want to fill that in and then let you like grapple shot over and then be able to pudge me. I want you to have to also go that way.
Wise, wise, wise. Okay, I think I'm going to take a site here because if I do hit another air site, I can accelerate into 5.
Jesse's saying with the new projectile rules, would you rather pudge 1 step forward?
Does it? You can skip your allies here. Is the
You
thing?
can skip allies at your location, right?
Yeah, he has 5. Like, so it is probably reasonable to do that. You know, you insulate a little bit against like Vile Imp, Lightning Bolt, taking Pudge off the board, that kind of stuff. Maybe. I guess we'll find out. We will find out.
That Pudge Butcher is a problem.
Yeah. So I'm going to take a site. All right. Not bad. I'm not hating it.
Oh, that's because you couldn't skip allies in your front-facing site.
Skip allies?
Oh, allies here.
Yeah, definitely. That is accurate. But it's also like, so say I put an ally here. You don't do anything about it. You put something here, like I move and Pudge you. So it is still not really a win for you. I can still threaten that side, I feel like, especially if I put like a site here, which I'm about to do. I can always just move over. Okay, so we drew our site. And then we're going to go here, desert, we'll trigger it there. And then we've got 4 mana to work with. We will play pikeman here. Strike first when attacking. Now, you know, Violent Desert here is fine. That's probably what you look like. I respond by killing your Violent. We have a card for card trade. Not terrible. Go ahead.
Draw here. All right.
Alrighty
Players. Let's tap our sorcerer. And let's get weird.
Yeah. Let's get weird.
Humble Village here.
We moving. Making a dude?
You know what? Actually, we'll put the Humble Village here, and I'm not making a dude.
Okay.
It's interesting. I know what's going to happen.
Oh, who knows?
I can't allow that. So the thing is,
The game's great, man. I mean,
I have my own Pudge Butcher. The problem with this move is that you can just move your pikeman over, and then you can grapple shot your Pudge Butcher to me and kill me, and then you can tap your Pudge Butcher to get my avatar over here and smack it.
that would be incredible.
And I can't allow that. I have intel that you have 3 grapple shots, so like it's too good.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't, then I got to bring, you're going to move the pikeman either way. So that's a hope and a dream. I don't know. So I think we wait instead. What a mistake. I don't know, man. This is a hard. I think you're gonna destroy me.
You can have anything, in this game. Anything in your hand there.
Steven switched out a bunch of cards while you were in the bathroom.
Yeah, with my SorceryCon sealed deck.
Yeah. He took out all his grapple shots.
Definitely don't have any grapple shots in here anymore.
Yeah, also another play that would not be fun. It's like you grapple shot with him in, and then you swing him, and I don't do anything.
Dead Pudge, dude.
I'm just dead.
Grapple shot pikeman is just a 6 damage stick.
Yeah. I'm gonna play the House Arn Bannerman here.
Okay.
Over to you.
Other nearby allies have +1 power. Okay.
We're just feeling it out.
Yeah. Let's draw a spell.
Pudge is so unbelievable.
Pudge is good, man.
What an unfortunately good card.
He's good, isn't he?
Have you seen the alt art dustable Pudge?
Dustable, huh?
So they're gonna have alt art promos you can only get through dust.
No, I didn't see that.
There's a color out of space too that is insanity. Anyways, the pudge is as expected gross.
Yep. As expected.
Torres, if Steven wins this, does he get your champion card? Not quite. He does get the, what do you call it? Transference, maybe, of like, if you beat me and I won the tournament, then basically you won the tournament.
Yeah.
That logic.
I do get that. Yeah. That's relevant. I think I like connecting the dots over here, giving a lane for power.
So I had pudge in my open hand, and I just didn't have the other earth thing. The power of being the first one to put the pudge down is so much.
First to pudge, man.
It's crazy because you can just tap as soon as you do it now. I'm like, don't like it.
And you could violent, desert the pikeman out of here, which is a fair reality. But I still like it. I'm gonna swing here for 3.
I'll take 3. Those things are also a problem.
Okay, and then we're gonna get a little wild here. Let's get a little bit wild. Let's go site here. Let's use that. And then we'll go roaming here for 5.
Do you ever feel this fundamentally behind mine?
Yep.
It's dry.
Never felt that way, personally. Not ever playing you. Always ahead. Always winning, Zach. I'm always winning. You got 2 strength foot soldier there. Watch out. We're almost in the sorcerer gasoline on the fire part of the match where we get 2 cards a turn and things get crazy. I really need to get to 6 though.
Okay. Okay. My foot soldier is going to attack your own monster.
You got it.
No particular reason. They die.
I will not respond given that I do not have a response.
But you'll take 2.
I'll take 2. Yeah.
So remember that.
Imp it ain't easy.
We're going to tap. Play here.
One more of the monster.
We'll do 1 here.
Ooh, dang. We got a heat ray coming?
Then I'm going to chain lightning
Okay.
here and here.
That's, does that cost you, what, 4?
Yeah.
You got 2 air threshold there, my bro?
Ah, dang.
Oops,
Hold on.
it's not my hand.
I got to rethink my life. I can still do it. I just got to rethink it.
Eric, this is a sealed game.
We'll play this instead.
Okay.
But then I can't.
You
Doesn't
sacrifice your
work.
bannerman if you want. I mean, I don't know.
That was my original line, and then I realized I could do it without sacrificing.
Just talking.
I think we gotta do it. I'll play here. I did this for 2, so we'll chain lightning here and here.
Yeah.
And then, well, we confirmed you can't. You can't chain lightning back?
No. You should be able to though.
Because if you could, then I could paste it. I have 6 now. Then I'll attack here.
Yeah.
Just gotta stop the bleeding. Okay, over to you. Good catch on that threshold.
Okay, well I had to get real good at that at the event. Let's draw a sight for the turn. I kind of like that not being connected.
Here?
Yeah. Like I see no real good reason to do that. Let's go here to play a site. Let's play site here. No dude. Let's move Pudge.
He's immobile, right?
Oh, right. Sorry. Let's play.
Otherwise,
let's play a Riddle Sphinx here for 6. I'm going to look at the topmost spell. Do you want me to draw that, or do you want me to put it on the bottom and draw anyone?
you may put it on the top or on the bottom. Then an opponent may exchange the top and bottom.
I'll put it on the bottom.
So you put it on the bottom.
Yeah. Do you want it back on top, or do you want me to draw a freshie?
He's being riddled.
Yeah, I'll put your top card on the bottom, put your bottom card on the top.
So bottom goes back.
But the top goes to the bottom.
Does it really?
It says, opponent may exchange your top and bottom spells.
So this is the top spell.
What'd you put on bottom?
I'll put this on the bottom.
Yeah, then I'll exchange them.
Okay, bottom
So
goes
exchange
to
the top and bottom.
So top goes to bottom?
Yep.
Bottom goes to top.
And then you draw a card.
And then I draw that card. Okay.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay. And then we're going to try to make the long voyage with that foot soldier.
I don't know, man. If you put him in the way of your pudge, that's a problem too.
Yeah, you can't do that. So like I could move him here and the next turn move him here. And that is ostensibly more useful.
I mean, if you're going to end up here, I guess you could play a side here and stop him from...
Stop you from burning him. Let's leave him here. You know, he's Pudge's buddy.
If you move here and then he readies, he can still block over here.
That's true.
If it comes down to
Let's do it. Let's move him over.
Not exactly a cost to move him over. And I can't threaten him necessarily. Unless I have like a heat ray or something, then that might be a problem.
That's true. That's true. Go ahead.
All right. Let's try here. That is good. 4, 5. Okay. Let's tap here. We'll play a Fireside here. Then I'm going to play a Pudge Butcher here and a Sirocco Scorpions here.
Very nice.
And pass to you.
Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Let's see what I want to bank. Do I want to bank on anything?
You got 2 cards in hand?
2 cards. 2 real cards, yeah. And then do I want to try to grab a site? Ultimately.
Because you're at 6 resources?
Is this the moment? I'm at 6. I really don't need... Oh, wow, that's actually just... Yeah, that's the play for sure. So I don't need a site to do that, which is good. Okay. It's gonna be good. Okay, I'll draw a spell. Let's draw another spell.
Fortunately, the card quality of your deck is very high.
Don't draw last click, you know, you gotta
That's right.
watch out for that.
I mean, it is nice to not tell me what you're doing with the avatar yet. Especially if you have a site, but now you don't have a site.
So yeah. Okay, let's make the play here. Let's go. Yeah, this will be it. Let's go grapple shot on Pudge. Send me here, strike you here.
That is a good answer.
Then we will go Shield Maidens. Nearby take 1 less. Pudge, attack 4 to 5. Then we'll do Riddle Sphinx for 4.
We have lost the game.
And Foot Soldier will take the long voyage here.
The only out I have is an Earthquake.
Oh yeah, I kind of set you up for an Earthquake, didn't I? Does it hit airborne units?
I think so.
Dang. Do you think that's worth playing around? I don't think there's any way to play around it. Huh. I mean, Earthquake's baller here. Game looks good, doesn't it? Your opponent looks like they ate something they're trying to not vomit at a dinner party, you know?
That's Zach sending all the attention to the top card.
I'm gonna play a sandworm here.
Okay.
Past the air.
All right.
Yikes!
Yikes. Now, this is where I often make mistakes. I've got some real blowout plays here potentially on the top of the deck. I think I'm going to dig for those. Now, I could draw a sight and play these 2 cards, which equals 7, but it's really just like more bodies. There could be like a number of cards here that if I draw them, the game is so over. It's like a blink here is see you later. I mean, it's not even...
I mean, I already think it's over.
Yeah.
So,
but I want it to be over.
Don't make a mistake.
So you could play it safe here, you know? Safer, just get more bodies on the table. Make a resilient offense. Can a mobile, they can't attack or anything, right? It's like weird. They can't do anything. I could spread my forces out a little bit.
I think the only difference between a mobile and disabled is a mobile keeps their text box.
Yeah. I'm going to draw a card
Yeah,
for
they
a
can't
turn.
attack or block or move. Or...
I like that. Let's go ahead and draw a card. Okay. These are good. These are good cards.
Those shield maidens are a problem.
They're good, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right. Okay. Let's go. Swing for 4 here.
Down to 9.
Swing for 1 here. He made it.
Down to 8.
You got a 6. Swing for... Did I give you too good of a trade here? No, probably not.
I mean,
no. We'll let sleeping dogs lie there. And then we'll go... Where do you defend? Yeah, I like this. Let's go Bull Demons here for 5.
cool. Mine?
Yeah.
Let's tap and draw.
She's my lady, that's what I say.
Okay, let's try this. I'm gonna play a Chaos Twister.
All right.
All right.
We're gonna go Pudge.
And then you're gonna fly him into something. You can use the Pudge card if you want. You can also take it out of the sleeve if you want.
We will. Gotta have
How
at
big
least
is it? You think a sorcery box is about 12?
See, I'm thinking. I think I got a better measure.
Let's say at least.
At least.
All right.
Right.
At least, what are you doing? No
You
way.
know, just for a good time.
No way.
I'm aiming for that riddle snake. You ready?
Yeah.
off the table. So it has no effect.
It kills the pudge.
I don't think so.
That just fizzles if it hits the void.
It fizzles entirely?
If it misses the...
Yeah.
That's how they were playing in Sorcery.
Well, and you lost hard.
Yeah, it doesn't... Let's just say, hypothetically, I lose. But even
You
let's
also
say...
only get one blow if
Let's
you
say...
ever...
Oh, that was their rule. The birthday cake thing. That's not anywhere in anything. Let's just say it hit here. You win. If it hits here, and this goes away, I've still lost.
Should we do it again?
Do the game? What time is it?
Yeah, what time is it? 4:08. Jonathan, where are you?
Well, you guys got commentary. Where are you?
Oh, right. Well,
Yeah.
I'm here for a while. Okay, well, I'm the undisputed champion of sorcery, of course.
That's right,
et
that's
cetera,
right,
et
that's right.
cetera.
So Steve gets all your prizes?
That's
So-
right. That's how that works. Yeah.
I get
Just
the
slide them right over.
prizes
And my car.
and-
Yeah, nice.
My house.
That was just an absolute hot sauce sealed pool.
It was crazy.
Unreal.
Also, like, you just having the pudge out first was a huge deal. Beyond the fact that you also have grapple shots, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, the moment that it was Pudge grapple shotting in and then destroying the other Pudge without dying,
Game over.
You can't
The
recover.
shield man was also a problem because I had ways to deal with the pudge, but not through the -1 twice.
yeah.
But then you also then had the flying 4-strength thing. It's like I had nothing. I had nothing. Let me see if I even actually technically had an answer. I don't think I did. Even if I were in my best
Yeah, Swisser said no.
sense. Yeah.
You didn't have a shot. Yeah, there wasn't. Oh man, and it would even take less because of the shield maidens.
Oh yeah, that's
Shield
right.
maidens are good, yo.
So that's the
And you
only
just play them
space
more.
I could hit and it really do anything was here. Because the reason the twister gets rid of the unit is because it deals damage to itself. But if it deals damage to itself -1, it wouldn't go away.
Oh, wow.
So the shield maidens were like really wrecking everything.
That's so funny.
yeah.
Oh man, wild. Hey, thanks for joining us, everybody. It's sorcery. I I just love it. And this beta card pool is just super fun. I don't feel like I need a new set for a little while. I just made it through my first box.
This was it.
This was the end of the first box.
A lot of foils were saving up for the end there.
Wrong rarity on those foils, but they're shiny nonetheless.
Oh, that was yours.
Yeah.
Polar bears look great.
Polar bears look great. Yeah, Ling in there. That was a good seal deck. It was like disgusting.
When I asked how many,
that one at SorceryCon.
when I asked how many grapple shots you had, and you said 3. It's like
It's such a good card, man.
we had 3 and Pudge Butcher.
Yeah.
Like Pudge is next level.
You had Pudge too, you just didn't have enough grapple shots.
That's right. I had 9 grapple shots. You took them all.
So thanks y'all for being here. Thanks for David and Alex if you happen to be watching this. Thank y'all for putting on SorceryCon. It was great. Got a ton of footage from that event. We will be putting something together over the next 4 months or so, I would say.
It'll be a while.
Of just stuff's going to pop out from that. We've got a sealed final, or really a limited final. It was sealed into draft in the top 8. We've got Zach talking over his drafting philosophy while it's happening. So that'll be fun. We'll commentate
Philosophy
that.
is a strong word.
And then we got the finals that Zach won. Spoiler alert. And that was great. That was a really, really good game of sorcery. Well, for Zach, it was really good.
It was a great game.
It was a good display
Justin was my opponent. It was
of
great.
weirdness. You were playing weird, and Justin was playing good.
Draft is really challenging in sorcery. It's easy. It has to go weird.
Yeah.
That's the cards you have.
But like all the weird stuff works together well. Also, so
Can.
there's that.
It can.
And then we have the constructed finals as well. So we'll be posting commentary on that game. That'll be up. Those will be up fairly quickly. And then we've got some things that we'll put together with the existing footage that we got, just giving an overview of the event and kind of the players that were there and what the sorcery vibe is and all that kind of stuff. Looking forward to doing that. And I think that's it. And we still have beta in stock on our website at MSRP. Forever and always, MSRP.
I was
That's
going
the
to
name
say,
of the game.
I don't know if we'll be
Not forever and
in stock
always on
forever,
the boxes.
but
Some people are
MSRP.
I like to lurk around in the corners of the internet that really
Research.
Are concerned about such things, and it's quite. It's always interesting to be on the side of things where you know exactly how everything has worked and why and where things are, and then to see what people are speculating as to why and how and what, and to have no reason to say anything about it.
Yeah. They'll figure it out when it happens.
Thank y'all for being here. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time.